Welcome everybody to our latest session of the Restoration of Cariele. As usual, we'll do a quick recap of what occurred last week, and then we will jump into it. So team, you'll likely recall last week when we picked up, you guys were on the road traveling between your capital of Carolinian to the capital of Thosone, Sunneland, and you had just met this young woman who turned out to be a farmer by the name of Trianth Brown, and she was very much in a chaotic state as she had lost track of her younger brother, and due to the fact that there was a blizzard going on and that neither she nor her younger brother were really well dressed for it, she was very concerned for him. She asked for your assistance, letting you know that she had eyes on him not that long ago, perhaps 20 minutes or so by the time she'd spoken with you. And she said that her little brother went by the name of Cullen, and that he was fascinated by the horsies. And he had said something about seeing horsies through the trees, but she explained to him that there was no wild horses in this area, so that wouldn't make a whole lot of sense. But apparently he had kind of walked away from her. She lost track of him and then tried to track him down, couldn't find him. But after asking for your assistance and filling you guys in on the details, you provided her with a blanket to help warm her up a bit. And then she walked back to the last place she thought she had spotted him. Blixel was able to spot some really obvious tracks in the snow and was able to lead the team to the west across the road into a more thick part of the forest. Once you guys got in that area with the snow still falling down upon you, hitting into your armor and collecting at your feet, eventually you guys spotted that this pretty thick area of woods, started pushing through it, calling out for Cullen to approach, seeing if he would identify his location. And eventually, some trees nearby seemed to come to life and attack you. It seemed as though these trees were not very happy with your intrusion into their lands, and they tried smacking at you with their trunks and even occasionally times using their long branches as arms to grasp onto chunks of dirt and rock from the ground and throw them through the air towards you. For the most part, you guys did pretty well in this battle, not suffering too many wounds. Unfortunately, Blixel tended to be the target of the tree's ire, and he suffered the most wounds. Tavard got a few glancing blows, I believe, but it didn't amount to much. You guys were able to dispatch those trees and continue pushing on. Before too long, Tavard, I believe it was able to hear the sounds of what sounded like a child coming from a nearby copse of trees. But at that same time, a booming voice in Sheelan, or the Elvish language, rushed over the entire team, essentially telling you to get out or be destroyed. You guys decided to be very careful and circumspect going towards that area where you'd heard the little voice. Sure enough, it was indeed Cullen there, and once you guys said he was going to be safe, he came out, was scooped up, and you guys made your way back south, back to the road, then to the east, where you guys had come in from. Once you returned and spotted Trianth there as well, because during the battle, Gordon had asked her to go back to the entourage, making sure that these trees couldn't in any way harm her. Once regrouped up with her, she was very happy to see, of course, that her brother was safe. Quite cold, in fact, and you guys could even see his skin kind of turning a bit blue. You tried to do what you could to warm him up a bit. And then once he was with her, she wrapped him in that same blanket that you had given to her. She thanked you profusely and then said she would make her way back to the family farm, which was not too far away, so no real danger for her getting back home. Her parents, actually, her father had come up as well because you guys had sent some guardsmen to the house to make sure that the child hadn't returned there, perhaps. So eventually all of the Browns made their way back to the family farm, and you guys were again thanked profusely for your intervention in saving the young boy's life. Once back at the entourage, you guys spent a bit of time resting and relaxing and spent the night away. Woke up in the morning, had your typical rations and getting ready to move. During the previous day, you actually had also met up with Keela Ways. Keela was assigned to your entourage by Lord Tannenbosch. She essentially is like an assistant to him and an assistant to all of you. And she said she would do the best she can to give you details about the upcoming wedding, who the peoples of importance are in Thosone, and answer any other kinds of questions that you might have. She broke down a few of those important people for you guys the previous night. With that information fresh in your head, you guys got the entourage moving, continued traveling along the road further into Thosone and making your way through the province of Trebien and heading to the province of Sunneland. On your travels, you have two scouts, essentially, one in the front of the party and one in the rear of the party. On either side of the road is quite forested areas, so the scouts are essentially tracking any travelers coming or going. Eventually, the southern scout made his way back to your team and informed you that there was a gentleman who had spotted the scout and basically ran up to him and asked for some assistance, asked if he could group up, you could say. You guys decided to go and meet this gentleman. And so you guys made your way south along the road until you got to the area where the gentleman was. He was then able to inform you that he was looking for some assistance traveling towards the province of, or the capital city, I should say, of Sunderland. And you guys realized he was going in the same direction as you. When asked specifically, like, why did he want to group up, he had mentioned this encounter he had with folks alongside the road. He took them for bandits and he ran away from them as fast as he could. And he says they're still behind him, but they might still be chasing him. So it'd be beneficial to be in a larger group. During the interaction with this gentleman, who went by the name of Thomas Sonyason, you guys noticed a little bit of fidgety behavior from him, a little bit of like kind of fidgets or tweaks in his disposition, his posture, that sort of thing. And then eventually you guys were able to discover through some knowledge checks, that it seemed as though he was not very well. And in fact, you guys were able to determine the exact illness, which was a disease known as cackle fever. And where exactly he had gotten that, you weren't quite sure. But luckily, Blixel was able to purge that from his body using his lay on hands ability, at which point in time he seemed much more relieved. Still a little bit of exhaustion there from his effects of the cackle fever, but he wasn't nearly as out of sorts as he was. As you guys asked him additional questions, he mentioned that he was coming from the province of Rudwash and heading over to Tradebien and then heading up to Sunderland. There was some question as far as why did he go to Tradebien before heading up to Sunderland, and he explained that he comes from southern Rudwash and that the getting to the road makes the whole travel much faster. So even it's a little bit out of the way going west, being able to take the road then speeds things up significantly. So that's why he did so. He also mentioned that he had to, due to the weather effects that were going on, he had to like take a slightly different path than he normally did. And he found himself in like an area of the woods where he kind of had to push through. And in this particular area, there was these kind of strange plant growths in the area. And they, when he pushed through, he kind of like did some sneezing and hacking and coughing. And he put two and two together that perhaps that's where he got the cackle fever. When he explained this to you guys, it seemed possible based on your knowledge of the land, so you assumed that was essentially correct, and ultimately decided to allow him to accompany you. He basically stayed kind of in the back with some of your other attendants. You guys then continued making your way to the capital city of Sunderland. Eventually did get there. When you were on the outskirts, you guys asked Thomas to essentially like, hey, we're here, you can go on ahead. And so he thanked you for allowing him to accompany you, and he made his way into the capital city. You guys did that shortly thereafter, found that there was a table set up just on the inside gates of the capital city, and there was some folks there from the Thosone administration that were welcoming wedding guests, and so they did just that for you all. They realized your party, and they gave you guys directions to the manor house of where the wedding's taking place. And they said, feel free to visit the city and see anything you're interested in seeing. You guys quickly went over to the manor house, got yourself situated, met with the diplomat who you had previously met, Rolf de Grey. And he, again, welcomed you to the wedding and said he hoped you had a great time and let him know if you had any questions, he'd be happy to help you. Keela also mentioned that there was some folks who were interested in speaking with you. You guys had previously been told that at the weddings, there's sort of this unofficial policy of you're not supposed to talk business, at least not in public areas, but everybody knows it happens. Just do it in closed rooms kind of deal. So eventually you guys had the Chamberlain of Thosone who arrived first, and she was happy to speak with you all after you guys entered a room. You guys have heard her name once or twice before in your council sessions. You may remember that she was the individual who came up the river and asked to speak to you about cleaning up the trash in the river. Lamex, he had asked you to try to work with the guild to reduce the amount of trash in the river. He said he had previously worked with Thosone to help on that side of the border, and he said he had spoken with this Chamberlain who goes by the name of Helene Dossieri, and she was able to come to some kind of an agreement on this issue. So when she was speaking with you all, she was happy to meet you all and friendly, and she dropped a pretty big bomb. You guys had heard a little bit of this from Keela before, but essentially in the past there was a potential wedding pact that was going to happen between Entir Gladnil, the former Count of Cariele, and the Baroness of Thoson, Fiel Thoson. And the Baroness of Thoson was not a very big proponent of that. She did not like Entir at all and didn't want to go through with that wedding. Entir was not happy about that, so there was kind of constant friction between your two realms. But obviously, ever since his removal from the seat of power, that issue is not there any longer. However, she said that she spoke with the Baroness, and the Baroness thinks that a wedding between your two realms is still a good idea. And so she proposed having one of her cousins marry the Baroness now, or the Countess of Cariele. And so asked if you guys thought, based on your experiences with the Countess of Cariele, whether or not that would be a good idea. And you guys kind of essentially said that the Countess is a very strong, fierce woman and someone who you don't necessarily think she'd be open to this idea, but you would certainly ask her before making any final decisions. The Chamberlain said she understood, but then perhaps another arrangement could be made with somebody else of importance, like perhaps a counselor. So you all looked at each other, wondering who exactly that might mean. The Baroness of Thoson has two male cousins, and that's the two who she seems to be interested in wedding off. So, of course, that would mean that it would be a female from Cariele. So that put Celine and Serena in the spotlight as potentials. Celine did not seem all that interested, and the group consensus seemed to be that Serena probably wouldn't be either. But the Chamberlain said, keep it in mind, because it goes a long way to forging relations between the two domains. After you guys finished speaking with her, you met a couple of other folks. You met, or at least one other folk, you met Derek Thoson, who is one of those cousins of the Baroness. He is also a mage of some power and controls some sources in Thoson. And he had given you guys some free advice about the ley line connected from the Five Peaks into your province of Riverford. He said anytime there's a ley line forged like that in a province that he also has a source in, he can feel it. It's very hard to miss. And so he said in past experience, many, going back several years, the eyeless one has been known to be favor this one particular spell known as Death Plague, which he can summon using that realm magic of the source, and essentially it spreads a pestilence in the province and perhaps even surrounding provinces that really causes a lot of people to die. And that would impact your population more than anything else, more than like your soldiers or anything. And he told you some ways to counter that. Particularly, you could use the Blessed Land realm spell on the divine side, or you could use the Dispel Realm Magic arcane realm spell to cancel it out as well. He also mentioned that if you're open to it, he could forge a ley line from one of his sources in Thoson to Riverford, and that he would have the power to counter the Eyeless One from any additional spells. And he said he would work out an arrangement with you as far as what his involvement or his help would cost you, or what kind of favors he might be looking for to ask. You guys didn't give him any straight answers, basically said, thanks for the information, we'll talk again, we're sure, and let him go on his way. After that, you guys had some just brief chats with one another, a lot of individual conversations and wondering who you'd like to speak with. So there's a few people in the wings, so to speak, that you guys are knowing will be here that you may decide to touch base with. So that was a pretty exhaustive recap of what occurred last week. Hopefully I covered all the high level points, but is there anything I missed that anybody would like to add?
What did you buy, Brian?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I bought the Goggles of Night and went into town. Didn't I buy the Goggles of Night in this place? We went into town?
I was going to say backwards. You went into town and bought the Goggles of Night. But yes, you can go ahead and take inspiration for that.
I was sitting there thinking, wait, didn't we go into town? Like, after the recap. Yeah, we went into town. And that's where I lucked out and got the Goggles of Night. Y'all helped me out. What else did we do?
We went into town, and you accidentally spilled a drink on a lady. I can't remember who it was, even though it wasn't your fault. It was another individual that was in the tavern with us who bumped into us. But I was trying to play it off. I think that, telling the other guy, hey, it looks like it's you must have had too much to drink and things like that.
Yes, indeed. Go and take inspiration as well. Tavern, right. Clearly, that will have no lasting ramifications. Spilling a drink on somebody who is described as dressed in an sort of like noble-ish kind of style. All right.
Does
Any
anybody
other last ads?
does anybody need inspiration? I've already have my 2.
I could take one, but I'd also add that I don't know if you mentioned this, but me and Celine went to a library to try to do research.
I didn't.
And
What were you trying to research there, Blixel?
uh, stuff about the hero stones specifically, since we're closer to the elves here.
Yes, indeed. Yep, you can take inspiration for that, Blixel. You guys were looking for some additional information on the hero stones, but unfortunately, you found that this library here in Sunderland is not very extensive, and you did not find what you were looking for.
Noah, do you still have another slot, or is that filling you up?
Yeah, I got one more because I was empty.
Blixel, let's be honest. You tend to use the inspiration a lot, so go for it, brother. You got
Thank you.
2 now, man.
All right, if there's nothing else to add, let me go ahead and deal out a card to everybody. Take a moment to review your card and let me know if any questions. Okay, and let's get you guys back over to the Manor House. Okay, so you guys are currently at the Manor House. As a reminder, you can think of this as a large noble estate. There's, the sort of outside grounds. This is on the outskirts of the capital city itself. There's this small river and pond in this area. There's a lot of folks kind of meandering about. You guys have your own private rooms that you are essentially in at the moment. I imagine you guys are kind of all gathered in one of the rooms, but right at that time, you guys can decide where it is that you'd like to go or what your plans are. It is early in the day. You can think of it as being somewhere around noon, maybe 1 p.m., something like that. The wedding official ceremonies and stuff like that are going to start about 6 p.m. in the evening. So you have 5 or 6 hours somewhere around there to burn.
All right. Everybody have what they're wearing to the wedding?
I guess I haven't seen. I don't. What color am I wearing? Are we all wearing the same color?
What? We're not all wearing the same color, are we? Do we have special colors?
Maybe we do.
You guys were told that the entourage that you came with had several attendants that had all of those kind of things taken care of. You guys haven't inquired specifically about the color of clothing, but you could certainly track down Keela and ask her, as she's acting as sort of your head assistant in those kind of manners.
I think we should get our uniforms now so we can try them on.
Is there another cousin that's meeting with us? When are we going to meet him?
There is
Yeah,
indeed another cousin who is interested in meeting with you.
If I remember, it was just more of a they'd catch up with you later type thing. I could be wrong, but I think that was it.
She said that the first cousin was here, which kind of implied that the second one wasn't, but it could be any moment today or during the other days.
Oh, Serena, you feeling better? There's been a lot that's happened. You were really sleeping it off.
Much better, thank you.
There's been a proposal for your hand in marriage. Some guy wants to marry one of us, and it ain't me. And maybe Blixel's on the fence, but we were thinking you or Serena. Saline. Oh my god.
Some guy or someone that would be a crucial ally of ours if we made the connection.
Crucial. He talked about, the ILS one has that ley line. He says that he can poof that ley line away or use it against the ILS one as one of his things, but he's also looking for someone to marry, and you were sleeping it off, but he didn't really want to speak to you. But maybe you can meet him at the wedding.
Maybe we'll hit it off.
There we go.
It also should be said that I believe it was Gordon that did a, kind of his suspicion is that the guy wanted a little bit more out of the power of the realm, so to speak. So basically, Gordon, I think, rolled to find out he didn't really trust the guy as much, or that there was alternative motives, I should say, would be a better way to word it.
Yeah, Serena, I'm sure he's just not all good. What man is just like, oh, I'm freely going to do something for you? There's usually going to be some type of quid pro quo, as they say. But, if there was a strong ally between us, then, maybe the chances of it always being good are much greater.
Yeah, it could be a Game of Thrones wedding. We don't know, right?
He seemed like a pretty good guy, honestly. Maybe you would hit it off with him.
Interested in moving to Cariele?
I wasn't.
Good question.
Yeah, maybe you can have a talk with him about that over your mimosas.
We'll get down to
You-
the details.
No. Oh, sorry. You go.
I was just saying we'll hash out the details.
That's great. Yeah, let's check out our clothes. That's a great idea, Brixel.
Yeah.
All right, so it sounds like you guys would like to track down Keela and have her come and answer some of those kind of questions.
Yep.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, it doesn't take you too long. All your rooms are kind of in like one section of the housing here, and hers is nearby. She's, sharing a room with some of the other attendants, and then most of your other, say, less important attendants are further down in more common accommodations. But yeah, you managed to find her and pull her back to the room you guys are currently in. And as she enters, she closes the door behind you, and she says, "Oh my, I have heard some very interesting things just in the last hour or so. But, what is it that you wish to discuss first?"
Oh, you can't tease us with that. What have you heard that's interesting?
Well, many of the staff around here, when they see the important guests like yourselves or the other nobles, they tend to have this quietness to them. They close lip. They don't want to allow anything that could be unfortunate or cast their manner here in bad light to be spoken of. But around the rest of us, they seem to be a little bit more loose-lipped, you may say. So myself and some of the other attendants that have brought here, we've all been chatting and talking about some of the things that we've overheard them saying. Apparently, there was a cake that was made for this wedding, and when it was taste tested, they said it was tasted awful, as though it was made with salt instead of sugar. Quite odd.
Oh,
And then, of
horrible.
course, yes, indeed. And then there's two banners, one from each of the families, one from the Haysford family and one from the Bells family. And those were placed in a special room and held up so that they wouldn't have any wrinkles or folds or anything like that on them, so that they could be brought to the main hall when the wedding actually took place. But somehow they've gone missing, which is quite odd.
Wait, so sabotage is afoot, is the quick.
I didn't want to jump directly to that conclusion, but that's only two of the things we've heard so far, and they're kind of starting to add up. It certainly seems like...
Yeah, go ahead. But you don't accidentally put a gallon of salt instead of sugar.
Yes, that was my same thought. It's very strange. You would have to think that they have some of the best people here preparing and cooking and all of that. So it seems very strange. The other things that we heard, apparently, 2 nights ago, there was a drunken brawl that occurred here in the manor between some of the house guards, which seems very out of the ordinary, but this was before any guests or anybody arrived. However, there was a special arch that was created for the wedding. I don't know if you're familiar, but it's kind of a wood arch that is often used in wedding ceremonies, and decorated with ribbon and flowers and that kind of thing. Well, apparently during this drunken brawl, the arch itself was destroyed. It's very unfortunate that happened because I am told that the Haysford family, it was like a family heirloom that had gone back several generations. And then lastly, there's some talk that the local cleric that is supposed to be performing the services hasn't even arrived yet.
I'll perform the services.
Well, I'm the proper cleric.
Oh, you're right. You do it then. But this sounds like they're cursed.
Are
You
there
just sing. You just do the song Minuet in D. That's all we need you to do with the drum.
All right.
Are there factions in Tucson that disapprove of this union? This seems like a lot of coincidences that can't be normal.
I don't know of any factions. I mean, this is two local noble families, so it's not even like it would be a foreign interest. It's simply one noble family from a province over and one noble family from here. So it certainly seems odd that all of this chaos would be afoot.
What does the Chamberlain think about all this? Is she in a panic?
If she is, she does not show it. She's been remarkably stone-faced anytime I've seen her.
Are there any legends of the families making a deal with devils or anything like that?
You notice Keela puts a hand to her face and kind of stifles a chuckle. Oh, no, nothing of that sort that I've heard of. Just for a reminder of what Keela looks like, I'm going to pop that up on screen for you guys.
And I'll ask Keela, but traditionally, is there bridesmaids and groomsmen and all that, and where are they right now? Would be my question.
There are, but apparently here the local custom is that there is simply a maid of honor and then a best man, and just one of each. So it will just simply be the bride and groom, and then each of them have another individual making up the wedding party. So they are here as far as I know. I imagine both of them are attending to either the bride or groom respectively.
And Keela, I know this is hard for you because you probably see the best in everybody, but is there anybody that would benefit from this wedding not taking place?
It's always hard to say that, counselor. I mean, I'm sure that there is, but I don't want to be disrespectful, but this seems like kind of a small scale wedding. I mean, this isn't like the Baroness getting married or some major noble family. This is, so I can't imagine. It just seems too personal.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Sounds like a personal thing. So maybe someone's in love with one of these two people getting married and doesn't want it to happen. See it all the time.
Oh, this is going to be a great wedding. I can't wait for the kerfuffle that's going to come from this. We just sit back and watch it collapse.
I'm already feeling the secondhand embarrassment.
All right,
But
well,
you said you had something you wish to speak to me about?
Well, it's more of the mundane than the profound, really. What do our clothes look like?
Oh, you haven't seen them yet. I can certainly show you, but I could describe them. Well, you see, being from Cariele, there's kind of a wood motif. So green vests or tabards, you might say, long clothes shirts. The toggles on the front are made of wood, and so there's very much a green leaf and tree kind of motif with darker brown pants.
sounds good to me.
Yes, of course, that is for the gentlemen. For the ladies, it is somewhat similar in a skirt kind of fashion, with a skirt that is fairly low, making sure that it goes just above the ankles.
Modesty's good.
Am I able to keep my blade as it is ceremonial?
You notice she kind of winces a little bit. Well, from what I understand, there will be some guardsmen outside of the main hall that will be armed, but it is generally assumed that the other attendees will not be. If it's really important to you, I can try to speak to somebody and see if that would be okay.
Well, I just use it in my performances sometimes, so um, it's harmless, I assure you. But yeah, if you could ask them, sure. I don't want to make a big deal out of it, though.
Okay, let me see what I can find, counselor. It's not so much as though if you were found with a blade that, like, it would be illegal or the guards would rush in and try to grab you or anything like that. It'd be more like a social faux pas.
All right. Well, I don't want to do that, so maybe I just leave it then.
Okay, yes, you could certainly do that. If I can, I'll speak to somebody in the know here and see if that would be an issue. I have a suspicion, just based on the nature of this event, that they may not look too fondly on performances that deal with weapons.
Well, that's a lot of what I got, so that might be a problem for me, but we'll see. I'll read the room.
You notice she
Hey,
smiles.
Keela.
Yes,
When's
counselor.
the actual wedding? Is it tomorrow night?
No, it is tonight. There's the first
Today.
original ceremony, and then yes. So as a reminder, this is like a 3-day event. This is very customary here. So there will be the ceremony, and the vows will be exchanged today, and then tomorrow is more like the full. I guess you could call it the reception, the fun part of it, where people are much more moving about and interacting with one another. And then there is a final day of great meals and thanking from the bride and the groom, wishing all of their guests well. And on the third day is when folks start to depart, and the host families remain until the last guest has departed.
Well, Keela, if they're in a pinch for someone to officiate the ceremony, I will offer my services. Please mention that there is a cleric from Cariele who would be happy to officiate the ceremony, and I could volunteer my services for the union.
Oh, that is great.
May want to also just make sure. I don't know if they have like a religious preference for that cleric as well, or non-denominational, or if that matters or not. I don't know the religion here.
You notice she smiles slightly and she says, well, you will feel right at home, Counselor Gordon, because the predominant religion here is the Northern Reformed Church.
Well, there you go. Please feel free to offer my services on behalf of the Northern Reformed Church in such a pinch as it is. And if I get consequences of providing free services when I get home, I'll stand tall and take it on the chin.
You know, she smiles again. That is wonderful to hear. I will certainly let the organizers here know of your offer in case that is needed. And yes, we shall see what shall come of that, but that can only earn you goodwill, I'm sure.
Or maybe this time he gets assassinated.
Unfortunately, Keela, I can't bake a cake for shit. So that you're on the. I don't think we can help with that. Can we help with a cake, guys? There's no way. Maybe we could build a new arch. Maybe we could repair the arch. How badly ruined is it?
The way it was described to me is that it was snapped. So it seemed as though the arch was somewhat thin and older and more ceremonial. And when someone was shoved into it during the brawl, it hit it at an angle and it snapped. And so part of one of the arch legs is just completely broken off.
Anybody have a mending?
Nope.
We're handy. We used to have to make our own stuff back in the village.
Yeah, feel free to mention if there's any help. What about this, Keela? Also, my services as the officiator of the wedding, of course, is a standing offer. But if you could also mention, we'll take a look at the arch. Maybe they're busy doing other things or baking a cake. And what do you think, guys? You think we could have a look at this arch and see if we can get it up and running?
Sure.
Well, that is very generous for you to offer. Let me see if that is something that they're looking into, or if they've already come up with some other mechanism for using that or using something else.
No, yeah, thanks. We got a few hours anyway, so.
You see she nods. Oh, yes, and of course, as I mentioned, there are some interesting people hereabouts, and before things get really underway, if there's any that you wish to speak to, I can make sure to slip word to them that you're interested in speaking with them. I believe 2 of the 3 guild masters have already arrived. One of them has not yet, but still expected. And no other guests of note have arrived since we last spoke, but we're expecting others, of course.
Mm. Which guild masters have arrived?
Oh, that would be Adair Donium and Galen Thuriad. Adair Donium is associated with the Northern Imports and Exports, and Galen Thuriad is associated with Upper and Weird Traders.
And we haven't yet found out which of the 3 is looking to sell off their holdings.
I don't know for sure, but I imagine if you met with them, if they are interested, they would probably bring it up to you simply because, well, they're trying to sell.
I suppose we have the time to kill.
Yeah, why don't we meet with one of them? I know they don't like each other, so we might want to avoid leaving one of them out of it. What do you guys think? Galen? Let's go last first. Galen.
Sounds good to me.
And the first syllable of the first name sounds strangely familiar to me, so I don't know why.
Well, I shall see if he is amenable to a meeting. I'm guessing he will be. Let me see if I can track him down and get some of those other answers for you as well. Is there anything else I can do for you, counselors, before I set those motions underway?
I think that's it. Just make sure we have our clothes so we can style them out.
Oh, yes. If you wish to get dressed sooner, how about I will have the clothes delivered here to your rooms 2 hours before the actual wedding starts. So that would be about 4 p.m. So about 4 hours from now or so.
All right. Sounds good.
She gives you a smile and takes her leave from the room. You guys are in this room here kind of chatting. Is there anything specific you're discussing before we advance time to a next event?
I guess if this guy wants to sell the guild stuff, are you guys interested in that? In us doing that?
Very
I mean-
subjective.
It depends on how much it costs, but we do need to establish some kind of consistent revenue flow. Our ventures in Punal haven't panned out anytime we've tried to do it, so
Yeah.
I mean, we can't be beholden to Guildmaster Birian's wealth acquisition in our lands.
I
Forever.
agree. I mean, I think anything up to do we know what the price was? I forget. We don't know. But anything up to 5 or 6 gold bars, maybe more. Anyways, just something to think about.
All right. It's not long after that there is a rap on the door.
Hello?
You hear rap again.
Please, enter.
All right. The door is opened, and you notice is a slightly shorter than average man who looks slight of build, brown hair, brown eyes, and he looks like he is dressed to the nines. As he saunters on into the room, he kind of glances at all of you. You see he's holding a glass at the moment. He's kind of swirling this liquid around in it as he does so. And then he looks around and he says, "The counselors of Cariele, I must say, I imagined larger-than-life figures based on the stories that I have heard, but it is good to make your acquaintance. I am Galen Thuriad.
Blixel extends a hand to shake or whatever the custom is.
As you extend a hand, you notice he will look at it and say, "Oh, a handshaker. How quaint." And he will reach forward and give you just a dainty shake of a hand.
Excellent to meet you. I am Blixel.
It is nice to meet you, Blixel. So, tell me, I've heard many stories about the fiery-haired Countess of Cariele. Is she really as beautiful as they say?
Silence is deafening.
Blixel, you just shook his hand. Come on.
Oh, all right. I just, we're all here. So, oh yeah, she's a real stunner. Are you looking to get married too?
You notice he chuckles a bit. "Oh, no, not quite. All that tied down to one place. Ugh, not for me. I'm a man on the move, you might say. Always enjoying all of the luxuries of life. And to do that, you have to get about and get around. And most women aren't interested in that sort of thing, want to set up shop and nest and all of that."
I hear you. Trying to tie you down sometimes, right?
He nods. "Oh, yes, yes, indeed. But so far I've managed to dodge all the previous attempts." So, tell me, how are things going in Cariele? This council idea is quite novel, if I do say so myself. Some leaders, of course, have advisors and things, but from what I hear, your council's the real deal. Some even say that you all are actually in charge of the realm while the Countess just lounges in her throne. What's the real truth?
Wow, that's quite an accusation.
An accusation of competence, my dear?
The
I'd
Countess.
say, go ahead.
I was just going to say the Countess trusts us with the um the daily affairs of the realm, but she is definitely involved in her own way in governing the land as well. It's a sort of shared power, but everyone knows who's in charge.
Even that much, Counselor. Shared power. That's a good deal farther than any other realms nearby that I am familiar with. So I say good on you. Good on you. It's time that the common folk finally had a chance to have a say in matters of government.
I agree. We are looking out for what we believe to be best for their people. And any relationships that help that is what we are seeking to foster.
I see. Well, of course, I'm sure you have your realm's best interest at heart. And speaking of that, how are you liking Thosone so far? I know you probably haven't seen too much of it yet, but how are you finding it?
Aggressive trees.
Yes, yes, indeed. Quite many up here, but from what I hear, you guys have solved that problem in your realm.
That is true.
That's one way of putting it.
So far, we're finding this area very nice and, seems to be well maintained from what we could tell. Like I said, we haven't gotten out much, but, so far what we've seen of the city and, of course, this luxurious home, it's all good so far.
He nods.
How do
Oh,
you find the elven presence here?
Well, they know to stay in their own areas, and I avoid them as much as I can. They kind of creep me out a bit, right? There's something just otherworldly about them, and when you look at them, it's like you're not looking at a person, but you're looking at some kind of fairy being or something like that, and just gives me the shivers up the spine. No offense if any of you are friends of elves, but you probably know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It's those
We've
dark eyes. Every time you look into them, there's something else there that's not quite human, if you get my drift.
Well, my understanding is that they live a long time, so maybe that's visions of wisdom or something. I don't know, but the longer you live and everything, maybe those eyes just get deeper.
You see, he laughs. Ha ha! Visions of wisdom. If they were so wise, why did the Enwirians just conquer them from the shores all the way this far to the north? No, my friends, the elves are a relic of the past. They are clinging to their trees and their memories of yesteryear. Eventually, they will all be gone.
Half elves as well? What about your Baroness?
You see, he kind of smiles a bit. Oh, well, that is an interesting tale in and of itself, isn't it? Yes, she's quite a bit different. Half elves, of course, have that human spirit still. I've spoken with her on occasion. I would say she reminds me much more of a human than an elf.
So she's okay then, I guess. All right, good to know. What do you what's your guild up to? What are you guys up to here?
Well, we are involved in trading. We move goods from here and there. We maintain the transports. We maintain the various destinations, getting the carts up ready to go. It's quite a lot of work, but it can be profitable at times, though it's quite difficult at the moment trying to get any kind of advancement in these very rural areas.
Oh, you need more roads and stuff, huh?
Just more investment in the provinces is really what I need. Are you familiar with my holdings?
No, that's why I asked. I'm not sure. I'm not clear on exactly what you're in charge of. So I wanted you to tell me.
I would be more than happy to, yes, indeed. My holdings are currently in two provinces here in Thoson, mostly in the northeast of the realm. I have holdings in the province of Giant's Fastness and in the province of Sunniel. Both of them are quite rural and undeveloped. I keep encouraging the Baroness to put some additional funds into building these provinces up, particularly Giant's Fastness. It is right on the border of the Giant Downs, and well, if those giants ever decide to cross the border and invade Thoson, we should have more of a presence in the province, more military, and of course, more of the trade and the goods that would be needed to support that investment. Don't you think that makes quite good sense?
And never have too much military.
Oh, yes, and you can never have too many swords and shields and armor and the blacksmiths to make them and the merchants to trade them. Yes, I can just smell the coins in the air.
It is always tough running, those decisions to kind of get an idea on where to invest those coins at. But you seem to be right. I mean, I can definitely understand the potential prosperity.
You see, he nods. And how about you there in Cariele? From what I understand, Miele Bierion has full control of all of your commerce, essentially. How are you getting by? How's your treasury faring?
We're doing pretty good, actually. We've made some smart decisions. That's probably why we've kept on as council.
Oh, do tell. I must hear how, with no guild apparatus, that you've been able to do quite well financially. Maybe you've got some secrets that I could learn.
Well, we're just kind to the people. We have the blessing of the gods.
I
And
see.
that makes us strong. And we get good taxes after that.
Kind to the people doesn't go quite as far as I'm familiar with, but blessings of the gods, this I have heard of. That is quite fortunate indeed. I believe it's the Northern Reformed Church is the religious powerhouse in your lands as well. I've found that they are quite mercantile in their ways of looking at things and always can get along with them and work things out because we have similar ends in mind. One coin can turn into two, and that benefits both religion and commerce.
Yeah, and the blessings of our church actually helps with everyone and gives a nice solid foundation.
I see. And have you taken any opportunities to expand into other nearby areas? Are you looking to grow your hold on the land?
Yeah, the short answer is yes, I think.
Yes,
We're always
for
looking
sure.
for ways to benefit the people with.
We're not reluctant to look at good opportunities.
I see. Well, then perhaps we could speak of an opportunity. As I mentioned, my holdings in Giant's Fastness and Sunnyell, they are rural areas, real up and comers, you might say, but quite turnkey if you're interested. In fact, you could say I have a solid hold on both provinces, one that I'm willing to discuss selling if you're interested.
Um, why are you selling them? Do they make you money?
They can, but as I said, they're very rural provinces at the moment. I would say at the moment there's a bit of a break even kind of mentality. Things are paying for expenses, but not enough that I would call them prosperous by any stretch of the imagination. As I mentioned, both provinces very rural, very little investment, but very good on the future horizon. They could be very lucrative if the coins do end up flowing that way and the provinces see some growth.
Lexo elbows Gordon sneakily.
So, got a question for you. When you say future potential, what causes you? I mean, is it what type of land do you have? What does the land have to offer? Say, if we were to invest in it, what would be the production like of what material or benefits years from now?
Well, as I said, currently the guilds that I control in both provinces are designed to expedite and make most efficient the flow of commerce between the two areas. The coins that spread there are thanks totally to my guild involvement. As far as what we do, it's a mix of some logging and some mining in the province of Giant's Fastness. In the province of Sunnyell, there's it's been slow to get off the ground, but a good chunk of our commerce there involves herbs from the forest. It's very, very forested in Sunnyell, and I've recruited some of the best people who know what to look for, and those herbs are collected and dried and then sold to various alchemists and other people of note who are interested in that sort of thing. It's, as I said, it doesn't make a lot of money at the moment, but there's just high potential there. But most importantly, if I can imagine, based on what I know of Cariele, you don't have much in the way of control of your provinces, right? The guild seems to control the provinces more than the crown does. Is that a fair statement?
They control parts.
Are you selling then because of the guild's control?
No, I'm interested in selling simply because, well, if I can be completely honest, I've spent quite a bit of time up here in Thosone, and it is very rural. It's not really to my liking. I had a trip down south, a vacation of sorts, and I must say, the much more populous areas down on the coast, well, that's more my speed. So I'm looking to divest some of my holdings in different avenues and then take a permanent vacation south.
That's my question. That's my leading question to assess whether or not that answer is truthful or not, please.
You are 100% confident that that is a truthful answer.
Hmm.
How much do you want for these holdings? How much are you looking to get?
Well, as I said, they are turnkey, meaning that I have both a guild holding and a law holding in both provinces, and I would like to divest all of them, so 4 holdings, 2 in each province, and that would set you up to be quite well established there. As far as how much I'm looking for both holdings in both provinces, perhaps 10 gold bars is what I'd be looking for.
How close are they to the borders? Making it easier for our folks, you know what I mean? So
Oh, well, they are not on your borders, but as I said, these are completely turnkey. So you can assume and you can be assured that these are going to work well for you without your direct involvement. Of course, you can always send requests or commands or travel. You are on friendly relations with the Realm of Thozone. I'm sure they wouldn't mind you coming on through. But here, I happen to have a close by map. Let me show you where these two are.
They're up where the vampire wants us to go.
All right, so he will fold this map out, kind of stretch it down, and then with his finger, he will say, this here is Cerilia, and this is Giant's Fastness. So they are not right on your border, of course, but both of them would be quite good investments for you, if I may say so myself.
That is a lot of our total. I'm saying this out of character, so not to this guy, but that is a lot of our gold.
Yeah.
and I'm concerned with it being so far away that I mean if another country or another region was buying land there, who would we potentially piss off without even, unintended consequences, so to speak?
True. I wonder if would you guys be down for one of them? If he's willing to do one like set.
The Soniel.
Sure.
Adam, could you break down exactly kind of what we're considering buying? Holdings and law holdings? Is that what you said?
I sure can. So these are both province 1s. So out of character, I can tell you that he currently controls a level 1 law holding and a level 1 guild holding in both provinces. So he's offering to sell you essentially 4 holdings, all level 1s, 2 law, 2 guild in the 2 provinces.
And how would that benefit us if we get? I know we were trying to get holdings in Pinole and failed, but so what are we getting for 10 gold? You think potentially?
So you're talking about straight like money income that you would get?
Yeah, another thing.
Sure. Yeah. So high level, what I would say is that as a level 1 guild holding in a level 1 province, like he said, it's not a lot of money. The amount of money that would come in is 1d3 minus 2. So basically, if you roll a 3, you would get a gold bar. If you roll a 1 or a 2, you would just break even.
You don't go negative.
Nope, you can't go negative.
Okay.
Now,
I mean, ultimately, it'll be worth it if we're in it for the long run, but it is a big chunk.
And I would say technically with those law holdings, if you wanted to, you can try to use them to claim some of the taxation in the province. So it's an option, but it's, you could say that the province ruler don't look fondly upon it. It's not illegal, and it's not like attacking or war or anything like that, but essentially it's trying to use like armed guards or banditry, depending on how you choose to describe it, right? And then you go through and you like seize some of the taxation, and you say, "Hey, we're protecting this province, so we are owed this money." And it's an option, something you can do. Again, being a level 1 province, you probably won't be able to seize much, but it's something you could choose to do if you wanted to.
And think about it. On an average, it would take us 30 rolls to get that 10 gold bars back.
He mentioned
Yeah.
something about investment. Isn't there something in the rules that the holdings can't be like a higher level than the number on the left? So
That is
I don't think
exactly
we,
correct.
yeah, I don't think we'd be able to do that, right? Because that would be up to Thosone to develop it, because it's not our province.
That is
right?
correct.
Or is there
Yes.
anything we can do? Yeah.
I mean, you can certainly like use diplomacy and things and try to work with another realm's leader and say, hey, why don't you rule that province to increase the left level? I think that would be great. And if you get them to agree to doing that, they could do that. Obviously, that costs them money to rule. So they might say, okay, I'm willing to take that domain action to rule that province to increase the level, but this is what I want from you, right? And then it's a little bit of give and take.
So basically, this he's asking is way too much. No wonder he wants to sell
It
for
may be
10 gold.
fine
But
from the
it wouldn't be 30 though, right? Because there's 2 of them, right? Or is that not right? Wouldn't it be 15 rolls?
Yeah.
Because they're both 1 in 30, or 30 times.
well,
Do we also get a benefit in our relationship with Ozone if we have holdings into that country?
Not just from that fact, but you could certainly use those to try to increase your relationship with them.
Right, so that's like a side benefit, and it's asking a lot of money for 1d3
Yeah.
minus 2.
I think at the
Jesus.
very least, counter offer.
I will also
Yeah, like
throw out
half.
there. I'll also throw out there that there is maintenance costs that are involved. So basically, for every 4 holdings that you control as a country, your maintenance cost is 1 gold bar. So basically, by taking these 4 holdings, you would be paying an additional gold bar in maintenance costs to keep them going, and then you would be getting back a 33% chance each time to get a gold bar in each province. Right? Is probably the best way to look at it.
Wow, what a great deal! Only 10 gold bars.
Well, and technically 10 gold bars may be cheap from land, right? But when we're looking at it from the roles that we have, I don't think it's beneficial. I
Yeah.
feel like this is like kind of saying, will the Carolina Panthers win the Super Bowl next year? Kind of odds,
You think just walk away?
I
Totally.
think so. I don't see any.
I
mean,
think yeah.
yeah.
It's
I mean,
gonna
even
take too
though
long to get our investment.
Yeah,
back.
it's definitely risky, honestly. So
I think the risk is this is a reward risk sort of thing, in my opinion. I don't see the reward being. I mean, unless we accidentally found gold there, right? But I mean, we're doing a lot of what ifs if we want to dance around that.
what?
Right. Just
All
to
right.
clarify, you guys doing this, you would not control the provinces, right? They would still be controlled by Thosone. You would simply control the law and the guild holdings there, which gives you, basically you would control 100% of the commerce there, is probably the best way to think of it, and 100% of the protection, right, there as well. So, yes, you're right that it's definitely not like a big moneymaker, but at the same time, over time, would they benefit you? That's a decision you guys have to make. I would say as they are currently, it's probably not a great investment at that cost. But at the same time, if those provinces do change and they get ruled up, and then you can grow your holdings, so think of it more as like potential, I guess.
Yeah, the problem is we're running out of gold already for our own, region.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, sir. Sounds like an opportunity, but probably not for us, unless you were able to do it for, 3 gold bars, which I'm sure you don't want to do. So I won't even insult you with an offer like that. But, good luck. If we find anyone that might want to take on that responsibility, we'll let them know.
You see he nods. Oh, okay. Well, I appreciate the candor. I must say that these are hot commodities, so they'll probably be gone fairly quickly. I'm really hoping I don't have to sell them to some of the other guild masters here, but others have expressed interest. In fact, even the guilds of Cariele have expressed interest, so perhaps it'll be closer to you than you know, but time will tell.
All right. Well, if things change, we'll be sure to reach out to you, okay?
And really, as important, we just appreciate the fact that you came to see us about this opportunity. It's been wonderful to meet you, and very much appreciated.
Oh, well, the honor is all mine, counselors. Meeting such esteemed persons as yourself is always a treat. Well, then I'm sure I will see you during the wedding. Perhaps one of you ladies will save a dance for me, in fact. And with that,
Colleen's a very gifted dancer.
he will have a little grin on his face as he looks over towards the two of you, and then he will say, I shall see you later this evening. And he will take his leave.
All right. Well, seems like he wanted us to buy real bad. He's name checking the guild.
Yeah, I don't like the idea of it falling into their hands either, but
We just don't have time, that kind of flexibility financially.
deforest somebody else's country.
Yeah. And it's unless we somehow, if we happen to really hit it off, we meet this Baroness or whatever, and we happen to hit it off with her, and we can say, hey, do you have plans to develop this or something? If we get some inside info, let's do it. But otherwise, I think it's rough.
Well, since we're all in that mindset, why don't we get Kayla to bring the other guy in?
The other guild master, yeah, sure. I think we should talk to all of them because they get jealous.
Well, yeah, let's get the other guy in who was selling. When there are two that were actually wanting to sell.
I thought she said only one of them.
Yeah, just one that you thought was willing to sell, but there are 3 guild masters here. One was willing to sell his holdings. The other 2 are just guests because they're prominent folks in Thoson.
I think we should still meet with them just to see if there's any sort of business we can do with their guilds.
Sure. Okay. So you guys track down Kilo once again. She seems a little bit into the mix of things as she's like trying to do all the things you guys previously mentioned. But when you ask her about the other guild masters, you see she checks a script of paper real quick and she says, "Oh, yes, the other Adair Donium, he is here. I will send him your way. Just give me a moment, counselors."
I appreciate it. You're doing a great job.
She gives you a smile and a nod and hurries on off to her other duties. All
I
right.
like
Well,
her. You gotta keep her around. She's really efficient, right?
Yeah.
all right, guys. So as you guys return to your room, just kind of hanging out there, and remember, your room is kind of small because these are like sleeping rooms. So you guys have like your own room, but you guys are using this kind of like impromptu, trying to respect the local custom of not doing this in a more formal area, right? And sure enough, a little later, you hear a slight knock on the door, and then the door is opened a hair, and you hear, "Hello."
Hello. Enter, please.
The door is then opened, and you notice a similarly built individual and similarly attired individual, meaning very much aristocratic kind of style individual, as he smiles and enters the room, closing the door behind him. And you see he looks at each of you momentarily, and he says, well, I'm sure you have heard of me. I am Adair Donium. It is quite good to make your acquaintance. You are the counselors of Cariele, yes?"
Indeed. I am the Copper Counselor, Blixel.
"The copper counselor. Do you have holdings in a copper mine?"
Perhaps I am a man of mystery. I will not reveal all my holdings, of course.
He gives you a slight wink. Ah, wise, wise indeed. Well, I am Adair Donium. I am the Guildmaster of Northern Imports and Exports, but I am sure that you already knew that. What is it that I could do for you? I heard that you wished to speak with me.
We are extending our um, relationships status out to the surrounding areas and trying to, make new connections and friends in these other lands.
We
We're
just
hoping you
simply
could be a
couldn't
friend.
miss the opportunity to get to meet you.
And you see he turns to you, Serena, with a smile and says, "Oh, I like her. That is how you put a little flair on it." Well, yes, that is very good to hear. In fact, I have holdings on a province just next to your realm, so I would be quite interested in learning a little bit more. But I must say, most of my dealings have to do with my guild and to other guilds and things, and, well, I'm afraid that your lands are completely controlled by the guilds there, and not a whole lot of business that we could do, at least on the realm level. But I'm always interested if you have some kind of money-making opportunity. Of course, that's what I do for a living.
Make money.
Why, yes, that is exactly the business that I am in, is making money.
Technically, that's the business everyone's in.
You would
But I get
think.
what you're saying.
You would think, but sometimes, in fact, especially with these, well, some of these church folk in the area, you would not believe some of the craziness that I've heard. Not interested in making money quite so ever. I am more used to the NRC, the Northern Reformed Church. Those are solidly minded folks and focusing on the coins and all that. But some of these other religions in the realm, ugh, I can't even begin to tell you. Their focus is not on the coins whatsoever. It's on other silly concepts.
Oh, like which ones? We're sort of um, finding some new ones that are popping up here and there.
Have you ever heard of the temple outreach called Halen's Bastion of Truth?
No.
Well, they have significant holdings in the province of Sidhuer, which is where I have holdings as well, and I must say they are much more difficult to deal with than the NRC is. They're all focused on high ideals and truth and law and that sort of thing, and, well, those kind of ideals just really get in the way of trying to make money.
Very inconvenient.
Quite indeed, quite indeed. I mean, somebody does something wrong, they should be punished. I think we can all agree on that. Yes, yes, but does the punishment always have to be one set way, no matter what? Always this? Of course not. There's flexibility in everything. The person who did the punishment, or who did the crime, of course, is well off. Well, couldn't they just spend some of their money to show their forgiveness? Of course they could. I mean, that money could go to help many other people. So these folks, though, have no concept of coins or how to make things flow. It's all black and white and just very tiresome to deal with.
How does the NRC react to this? Looks at Gordon.
Well, NRC's not in Sinuane, is it?
Well, their holdings in Sidhuer are minimal. They don't really have much there. It's just a baseline, you might say. The temple holdings are dominated by Halen's Bastion of Truth. If the NRC were to take them over, I would find that much more easy to do business.
Yeah, I bet. You had another holding somewhere, you said? Or is that...
Oh, I have holdings in several of the provinces here in Thosone, in Darlene, in the northeast, in Rudwash, right across the border from you all, Sidhuer, and even here in the capital of Sunderland. Though here I'm fighting a battle between myself and, well, someone you might be quite familiar with, one Miele Bierion. we split the guild control here in Sunderland.
Hmm. So she's got her hands in your pockets a little bit, huh?
That might be how I would put it, Counselor, but I'm sure she would say the other way around. Well, she was technically here first, but, well, she didn't do much with it, and then when I started growing my enterprise here, suddenly she focused so many resources to try to grow faster than me, so I think she's just a little spiteful little individual.
Okay.
Sounds like
Well, yeah. All right. Well,
Is in Rude Wash, are there NRC religious factions there, or how is your Rude Wash
He
province
nods.
holding it?
Oh, yes, the temple holdings in Rudwash are split between Halen's Bastion of Truth and the NRC. They're, I guess you could say, duking it out there. Half the population follows the NRC, half follows HBT. It's quite annoying, in fact, but still, even with 50% control, I can always work with the NRC. Very amenable folks. Those gents are just easy to work with.
I'm a member of the NRC.
Oh, my good chap, that is good to hear. Then you know what I mean. Very, very pragmatic-minded, your church.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if it's in the cards, it's might be worth taking a chance over. Might be able to make some money.
And if it's not in the cards, you can always stack the deck, right?
You're right.
I would be very interested in learning in what your intentions are. Are you focused primarily only on internal matters there in Cariele, or are you looking to reach out, expand, and that sort of thing?
But yeah, that's what we're interested in, is trying to reach out and expand. We've done pretty well in maintaining our land here, but interested in gaining more holdings for sure.
I see. Well, I wonder. Your focus does not seem to be much on guild holdings. I assume that's not what you're looking to expand into, right?
Well, other options are always good to learn about, for sure.
we're open to all opportunities that present themselves.
Well, you know what'd be quite interesting? I've always thought that those goblin folk in Thurazor there aren't all that great to have as neighbors. Wouldn't it be interesting if sometime down the road those lands were resettled by more proper folks? Maybe soldiers wearing the green livery of Cariele. Then that could open up those provinces to opportunity. Imagine having some help getting things set up, getting the commerce set up, ready to go for you once you're protecting the land. Now, can't you just visualize that? Wouldn't that be such a fine thing?
I certainly can.
Yeah, no, it's definitely been on our list of opportunities for sure.
Oh, interesting. I'm glad to hear that. I knew, being a member of the NRC, that you would see things in a pragmatic way. Well, let us just lay our cards on the table then. I would be happy to help you finance some efforts there, particularly in the province of Murgarat, right on your border. If you could see to having some of your soldiers kind of clear the path, as it were, I actually have a small holding in Murgarat at the moment, though another guilder has more control there. But if you were to roll on in and stamp his holding down, I would expand and, of course, cut you in on the profits. Make sure that it's economical sense for you as well. We can both share in the prosperity of the province.
Wow, it's very interesting. How would you be able to help? You have a holding there, and so you must have more than one holding there.
Oh, in that province, I simply have a guild holding, but it's not as large as my rival. But it's growing, I can say, and I'm more than happy to put some additional coins there to make it grow more. How I could help, though, you ask? I would be happy to finance a couple of units for your army if you're willing to move on in that direction.
I think we should consider this proposal.
But
Won't this?
who is your rival? And I mean, that would put us at odds that your rival too. Your rival would become our rival, and you want us to, you said, kind of put him down, or what did you want us to do with them?
Well, armies in provinces can always choose to destroy holdings there. So, of course, you could invade, destroy his guild holding, opening up room for me to increase mine. As far as making him your rival, he is a silly little ponce, nothing to worry about. You don't have to fear him.
Who
think we're
is
gonna-
him?
Need a name.
Ugh, he is that despicable one, Galian Thuriad.
Ah,
South Africa, so sending love
Yes.
to all of you
So
guys.
you mentioned he's
guys,
despicable. But,
Sammy, you are
in
extremely
what way?
beautiful.
Just greedy,
Wow.
or it is womanizing attitude?
There's something quite distasteful about him, I must say. He never seems to, well, focus on business at hand. He looks at very different ways of doing things, quite unpredictable, you might say. With many others, you know where they're at. You kind of know and can guess how things will move and unfold. With him, it's who knows? It's roll a die, and maybe you can guess that. He's just so unpredictable, and you can't have neighbors like that. They're not good for business.
Hey, I heard he's trying to sell some provinces up top. He told us. You interested in those things?
Oh, I've already heard that as well, but he won't sell them to me. We have a rivalry, as I said, and he's looking to not do me any favors.
I mean, it doesn't seem worth it to us. What do you see potential up there? He seems like you have an eye for potential, like in Mirror Grove. What about up there in Sunciel and Giant's Fastness?
I don't see much potential there, if I'm being quite honest. They're not very much developed, and I imagine they won't be. Giant's Fastness, maybe. Sunnyell, though, I don't see them. That forest has stood for many, many, many years, and every time the Elven delegation comes in, they always want to visit Sunnyell. So I don't think the Baroness would ever want to really focus on construction there in the province, but Giant's Fastness might be a different story. In fact, if there was to be some trouble there, I'd be willing to bet she'd put some more resources, try to build the province up, maybe even fortify it.
That's a blind check to see if he's representing those two regions truthfully.
It's hard to get a read on him, Gordon. You're not quite sure.
Okay.
Oh, very interesting.
Won't our going into there trigger a war with all the goblins?
Oh, yes, I'm sure it will, but your soldiers are clearly superior to their soldiers.
I agree.
But they might have a lot of them. They're goblins.
Yes, there are many goblins, of course, but it's like slapping down gnats. They are quite weak, and I imagine a well-funded and mobilized Cariele army would be quite the medicine that Thurazor needs.
How well funded?
Ah, well, let us talk specifics. I would be more than happy to fund 2 units if you are willing to move in soon, and depending on how things go, I could see myself to perhaps another 2 if you're able to push in even farther.
Farther as in towards Blood Bay?
Perhaps. Military matters I will leave to you, knowing which province it's best to expand into, but I can tell you I have some other holdings there. I do have holdings in Blood Bay. I have holdings in Doom's Peak. I have holdings in Falling Timber. So those are the provinces that I would be most interested in having you right a lot of the chaos that happens there now. You could do many good things by just pushing in, putting down the silly little goblin civilizations and establishing something real, another push of the old Enwerian Empire.
I nod and do a little duck lips.
And then for this, we get half of your holdings.
Well, I would be certainly willing to cut you in on some of the revenue that is generated when I'm expanded my guild holdings. Half might be a bit ambitious, for I'm actually funding part of this effort. We can talk specifics at a later point if this is something you're interested in, but I will be sure to support you in these endeavors and benefit both of us greatly.
Well, that is a generous offer.
It is indeed, so don't take too long thinking about it. Please keep me in mind and let me know if this movement will take place soon, within the next month or two, perhaps 3 at the latest. But after that, if you should have future plans and we haven't solidified them by 3 months, then we'll have to renegotiate because things are always moving and I can't lock things and resources down for too long, I'm sure you understand.
And we just communicate up here to you, and you can get our mail through the city here.
You could, yes. I certainly have a presence here in Sunderland. You can send communications to the Northern Imports and Exports office here in Sunderland.
Okay. Wow. Well, that's very interesting.
Well, it seems as though we might be in business together in the future. That would be quite interesting indeed. I shall look forward to seeing you down in the wedding. Hopefully it goes off without a hitch, but something foolish or silly seems to happen at all of these events, and at least we'll get a good laugh out of it, right?
So that last check, and you can help me. It's not going to be about lying. It's a different. I'm seeing if he's personally, if he hates goblins. Is that why, or is it just money?
Based on that check, I would say you get it. It's kind of a mix of those two issues.
Okay.
Like, culturally, like, does anybody like goblins?
I don't know. That's why.
Not
Yeah,
really.
I'm
Only
curious, like,
goblins
from
like
a worldview.
What?
And Adam, these guys and Thurzor are not part of the Gorgon stuff, right?
They
They're
are
in
not.
that.
Nope, they are an independent goblin kingdom. Just what you see there in their borders, that's their kingdom.
I mean, it's something to think about since we might be doing that anyways. But
Hey. Okay. Adari.
Adair.
Adair. So, what kind of support would we expect from the goblins? Who is allies with that, with Thorazor?
What kind of support? Oh, you mean who might come to Thurazor's aid against you?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't imagine anybody. They don't have friends. They have an loose affiliation with Thoson, but I'm sure Thoson has no interest in getting in the middle of those affairs. And if I'm not mistaken, Thurazor has already attacked you, haven't they?
Yes, that's why I said we have an interest into dealing with them, but we didn't want to step on anyone's toes. I'm not knowing
forget
who
that,
actually
counselor. You're always going to step on somebody's toes. Just smash the bitches and move on in.
You're right. You're right. But I mentioned Thoson seems to have an interest in helping them, so maybe some diplomacy on this end would help before we give them a heads up, kind of thing.
Thoson has no interest in helping Thurzar whatsoever. You see, what it is that the goblins are a rowdy bunch, and they cannot be controlled even by their king. So occasionally, some bandit group of goblins will push over the border, crossing the river and making some mischief in Thosone. So eventually a deal was struck to try to stop that as much as possible, and in fact there's even a unit of goblins in Thosone that are paid for by Thurazor, if you can believe that. And that was sort of the deal that was struck. So if rowdy goblins cross the border into Tradebian, that unit of goblins that is in Thosone protecting the borders are supposed to go and handle those goblins. So it's a very strange relationship, but I can assure you the Baroness is not going to mind one bit if a much stronger, more powerful and controlling group were to move in and set those goblins to order.
Well, that's us, no doubt.
No doubt indeed, Counselor. Well, it has been great catching up with you all and meeting you and hearing some of your thoughts. I certainly hope that we will be in business in the future. I look forward to assisting you in growing your realm and growing my own holdings as well, and mutually beneficial to all around.
Hey, before you leave, I got a question. What do you think about the bride and groom? I mean, you said just a few moments ago. I mean, of course, things happen at weddings, right? But what are your thoughts on? I haven't met either one of them.
Oh, well, just between you and me, Counselor, I overheard that this is not exactly a wedding of joyfulness on both sides. Apparently, the bride was kind of pressured by her parents into going along with this deal, as it's a good match, and the parents are trying to make sure something is done well for the family, of course. And, well, the bride's not too happy about that, but that might lead to some interesting events when they take stage, and of course the dance. You can always tell. Watch the hips. If the hips don't move and there's no firm grasp and that sort of thing, it's just a formality.
Hips don't lie.
I was about to make the same
I
joke.
got you.
God damn it, Brian. I'll buy you a Coke later.
All right, are there any other questions for Adair before he takes his leave? All right, he'll give you guys a nod there, thanking you for your time, and he will make his way out of the room.
What a pompous.
Yeah. I like that guy the least, the two of them at least.
At least he was thinking how to. It seemed to be a truly mutual beneficial relationship with this guy, in my assessment, as I was reading him.
I mean, as much as I'd love free troops, I have concerns about what would be required to take on Thurazor.
It would be a prolonged engagement, and we don't quite know how powerful their standing army is. We saw one incursion, but we still don't know for sure whether it was with the king's full backing or not. He seemed to imply that he had many more forces and was not going to use them. But if we were to incur into their territory, we would certainly be met with whatever response he is able to muster. They would not take that lying down. Yeah,
and if there really is no backing of Thurazor, then why hasn't Thurazor, if they're menace and always going to other people's lands, why hasn't Thorson or the old Cariele or gone in and just dealt with them? There must be a reason why. Maybe they are strong. Or many numbers.
And maybe
anything that we would be able to surmise from our research?
Yeah, if somebody wants to make a history check, I could give you perhaps some information on that on a successful check.
I'll do it. I'm just kidding.
I have. Yeah, I'll try. Let me find my. I don't have a token on this map right now.
I think they're in the lower right and down in the water there.
Oh, there they are. Well, now I have two. So.
Yeah, so what I would say that you know of, Saline, is there has been conversations in the past about Goblin Kingdoms, and most people don't like the Goblin Kingdoms, but why they don't, kind of press the issue, you might say. I guess I'll give you a couple of pieces of information based on that really good check. First is that Thosone is not known to be like a military powerhouse at any to any extent. In fact, you might think of them as being a little bit on the weak side. And there are rumors that other realms within Anweir actually send them financial assistance just so they can afford the troops they have. You've been told before that there are elven units stationed in Thosone that are on loan for Twerhiaville to help protect the Thosone's lands. You just were told about this goblin unit that's in Thosone. So you know that Thosone doesn't have a lot of money to field a large army. If you look at most of the provinces in Thosone, you can see most of them are 1s and 2s. 1s and 2s don't generate much in the way of money at all. And Sunderland is their largest province out of 4. You guys in Cariele, of course, have 2 5s and then a 3. So that should give you a little bit of perspective as far as like how much money they're bringing in. And then, of course, as you've been hearing from these guild masters, a lot of the guild activity is not controlled by Thosone's crown. It's controlled by guild masters. So, Thosone doesn't get all of the benefits from that. Same with the temple holdings. Those are controlled by a temple faction, depending on which province. Also not by Thosone. And then, of course, there's the old adage of if you were to come in and take over a province of goblins, unless you literally kill all of the goblins, all the civilians, like put every single person to the sword, which is unusual and very difficult. But if you
genocidal is the word I would use.
There
but,
you go. Yeah.
off.
Right, genocidal, probably a good word. But if you were not to do that, but just to conquer the province and then try to rule it, now you're trying to rule goblins, and goblins are known to be very chaotic and not loyal to their leaders at all. So ruling a goblin province is like a nightmare for non-goblin rulers.
Yeah, but the world would have less goblins. I mean, that's really the end result.
Yes, 100%.
Well, there's always more goblins, though.
Have you seen in the movies? There's like thousands of them.
What if we just kicked them all out? Yeah.
Are goblins bad guys in this world, Adam?
Goblins are generally considered evil. You can assume that like your standard run-of-the-mill goblin is like lawful evil is their typical alignment. So yeah, they're not good people to have around. Their culture is much more about like strength and brutality. So whoever's strongest should get to rule, and then because they're strongest, they get to kind of push everybody else around. So they're not nice in general. Obviously, there's exceptions to every race, but yeah, they're not considered to be like good, friends or good neighbors. Like they break agreements pretty regularly. So yeah, I would say in general, you can think of them as being, thought of as pretty evil.
So yeah, we have a reason to retaliate as well, and opportunity to make money. And Thosone would be happy if we actually help control our border and their border a little more.
We just would need a long-term plan.
Yeah, otherwise you get stuck over there for 20 years and nothing happens, and then...
Exactly. But, if we supply the military, we just got this new fancy military guy, too, from Moriad, and we start maybe using... This guy could help us make money from it, right? If that's part of the thing, rather than just fighting wars, he's actually going to help establish more holdings for him and give us some money, then it would... and fund it. So we could potentially have a long-term financial and military investment into wiping this black spot on the map away so that we can have a non-goblin world.
When you were talking about taking over the whole empire?
The whole empire. We switching our focus, guys. We're now Thorazor conquerors.
It'd be a very protracted campaign with a lot of lost lives. And
my vote is to send a message to the king saying, you tried to get us. We're taking Murgarat. This is what happens when you try to invade. If you do it again, you lose more territory.
We tell him we're taking Doom's Peak, and then we take Murgarat.
How about we just don't tell them anything, we just take both?
There you go.
Well, I'll defer to the general to this one.
And there'd be less goblins.
Down, down, down to Goblin Town.
I'm still a little confused about what the long-term plan would be. Like, are we gonna try to govern goblins? Or
Well, or what's the G word? Genocide. No one likes them. They're
Not a
evil.
Yeah.
good word.
They're evil people.
But that would leave, it wouldn't be a 4-3 anymore if we did that too, right?
I was waiting for someone to mention that. Yes, you totally picked up on that, Blixel. If you did genocide them, that 4 represents the population of that province. So either if you genocided them or said, hey, you're not welcome here, and like forcefully removed them, that 4 would basically go down to a 0.
So I think we have to govern them. But we put that military legion in there. I don't know.
Yeah, so we'd have to figure out how to govern them. And maybe we do it from Cariele Council. I don't know.
Or we sell it.
Yeah. I don't think anyone's going to want a province full of goblins. I'm telling you. It's a tough sell.
It's a juicy 4, though.
But we'll want it. Yeah, exactly. It's a 4. We can get something out of it. And we get those guild holdings. But I was
sounds like
thinking,
a headache.
I was thinking maybe we talk to the first guy we talked to and see if he wants to sell his guild holdings in Murgarat.
That's
Because
an
it
idea.
sounds like he's in competition with the douche.
It would get us a foothold over there that wouldn't require an act of war. If he has law holdings there as well. I would be more receptive to that than trying to extort the people of Thoson for their coin.
As much as I want troops, I'd rather do business with the first guy.
Yeah, and the 1 population one doesn't really make sense for us, but a 4 population one, and he wants to leave town, might work.
Well, this is great getting to know these.
Yeah, there's still 1 more, but he's not here yet. So, I guess we'll wait for him. Maybe he's got some more juicy stuff.
All right, sounds good. So you guys end up waiting, say, another couple of hours. So you can assume it's right about 2:30 in the afternoon. Your clothes are being delivered right about 4, and then the actual ceremony is going to be like 6. So you guys still have a bit of time. Keela does make her way back to you guys at this point. She will give you a little bit of an update. She says that the organizers are, very thankful for your offer to try to help the Arch, but they've come up with other plans. Essentially, the Arch was removed, and they're doing like a different kind of setup. So yeah, they appreciate that, but they're not going to need your assistance on that. However, they do say, Gordon, if you'd be willing to be on like standby, because they've put out another request for a local NRC cleric who might be able to make it in time, but if he can't, then they'd be happy to take you up on your offer. They're just trying not to inconvenience you, knowing that you have dual duties as a counselor as well.
Oh, well, that's fine. Thank you. What are their names? Who's getting married? I should probably have that memorized at some point in case I'm called in as from the bullpen, so to speak.
Keela will nod towards you, and she will say, yes, the bride is Amelia Haysford of Nolian, and the groom is Vernon Bells of Sunderland.
I couldn't write that down fast enough. Maybe you could put that in.
No
the
worries.
chat.
I'll go ahead and throw that in there for you.
Is there any news yet of what happened to the cleric who was supposed to be here? Like, what direction was he coming from? Has anyone gone to look for him? Maybe something happened on the road.
Well, actually, he's from the capital city, so he didn't have far to travel at all. I haven't heard what's happened to him. I heard this rumor, but they're trying to keep this quiet. I honestly, I could press a little bit and try to learn, but I'm worried about appearing to be too involved.
Well, don't inconvenience yourself. It's just curious. There was no notice or anything, right? He's just missing?
Right. From what I understand is they were expecting him to be here early this morning, like 10 a.m., something like that, and he was going to review the room and review the setup and all of that and make sure things are ready to go and the appropriate custom. But it's about 2:30 now, and he still isn't here. So if he's not here by 6, that's really problematic. But yes, he's several hours late at this point.
How far is the capital from here? If we were to, wander that way and stretch our legs,
So you're
get some
essentially
fresh
in
air.
the outskirts of the capital right now. So the walk from the church in Sunderland to this manor house on the outskirts of Sunderland is probably 25 minutes.
That's a good idea. We go for a walk.
We could go into the capital, maybe visit his church and see if they have any information about where he went or where he's at.
Sure. I can stretch my legs a little bit before our clothes get here, at least.
Well, unless there's any urgent business that we're needed here for the next few hours. I think we've met with everybody we wanted to.
I don't have ceremony prepared, but oh well, we'll wing it.
You notice Keela looking at some of her notes here, and she says, "Oh, I just wanted to make sure. So, of all the individuals that you wish to speak to, sounds like you've already spoken with a couple of the guild masters. Did you want any repeat meetings with them that I should organize, or are we good with those?"
I think they gave us a lot to think about, so we're gonna maybe meet them towards close to the end.
Don't we want to talk to the first guy?
The first guild leader.
Yeah, to ask him if he wants to sell that one hold.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, and would you like to try to accomplish that before the ceremony starts today, or just sometime during these next 3 days?
Let's get him here so we can find out what he thinks right away.
Okay, I can certainly organize that. You also met with the Baroness's cousin, Derek Thosone, and I'm trying to see here. Did you finalize that arrangement, or did you wish to speak with him again as well? I seem to scribble a note down here, but maybe this is just wrong. Something about wanting to speak with him about a ley line?
I think we were intending to consult the Countess before we committed to that. I believe Councillor Rainwright was going to contact her tonight. So it's not something that we can commit to today, I think. Unless he's done that already.
I have not. Is this regarding? I was preparing a sending for a marriage with him, correct?
That and his offer to forge the ley line between our countries, but there's a lot to that that we need to consider.
Well, the marriage proposal is, of course, interesting, but I believe there's another potential suitor involved that you haven't met with yet, the other cousin, Clumine Thosone. I am told that he has recently arrived here, and he's getting ready and all of that. If you wish for me to summon him, I could do that.
I think that makes sense.
I'd like to meet him. I hate to bother him when he's getting ready.
will gently press and see if he has time to spare. If not, then perhaps tomorrow in the morning.
Sounds good.
Excellent, excellent. And then one last bit of news. Another individual of some importance has recently arrived. He appears to be a lord from Moriad. Goes by the name Lord Stephen Windrus. He has recently arrived within the last hour or so.
Isn't that your friend, Tavard?
Yes, definitely. It's always good to see him. We don't need to see him today, but it would be nice to meet with him at some point. So if you have an opportunity to pass on our regards, that would be great.
You see, she smiles. I will certainly do so, counselor. Okay, excellent, excellent. So, are you making your way into the capital now, or should I try to get both Mr. Galen Thuriad and Clumine Thosone here right away if they're available?
I'm just thinking there might be some urgency to maybe if we could recover the priest. So if you want to get Galen in here to act directly about whether or not he's open to selling or getting rid of his holdings in Murgarat, and then quickly, and then we can run off to try to see if we can recover the priest.
But in just a couple of hours, and we would need time to get dressed and things like that. And
I'm a dude. I get dressed in 5 minutes. Put some water in my hair. I'm good to go.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds like a good plan then, counselors. I'll see if I can't get Mr. Thuriad. I believe I just saw him down in the main hall, so should be easy to track down. Just give me a moment.
All right, sounds good.
And sure enough, it's not much later before Galen returns. You'll see he knocks on the door much as before, and after you guys invite him in, he will enter the room and he'll say, my, 2 meetings in such a short period of time. Perhaps I sparked some interest?
Well, we've heard some stuff, and we heard you have some goblin problems there.
Goblin problems? Do tell.
You have some holdings in Murgarat, correct?
I do. Yes, I do indeed.
Now, you said you're leaving. Are you planning on selling those off as well? Because those are something we'd be more interested in pursuing.
Oh, I see. I am interested in perhaps selling those, but those are more established. They're quite expensive, but we can certainly discuss.
Well, we know you share them, or you're competing with another one of your guild masters here. So, how much are you wanting for them?
Well, I haven't really even thought of numbers for those quite yet. I had different plans for those, in fact. But, I would say my guild holding there is quite advanced. My law holding is more split with Adair. I assume that's who you spoke with. Is that right, counselors?
We've had many meetings.
You notice he kind of nods silently. I see. Well, yes, my guild holding, as I said, is more extensive there. Law holding's more of a split with Adair. But you're interested in acquiring both?
Yes, I believe that the proximity to our lands and just the value they present could be beneficial to us both, and then you wouldn't have to deal with the issue of the goblins and having to make sure you're getting your cut.
Well, the guild holding in Murgarat has been quite reliable. I can track the amount that comes in from that one and be quite confident in its stability. I know goblins are thought to be very odd beans and not necessarily those you want as neighbors. And I certainly wouldn't want to vacation there, but from a business perspective, it's actually going quite well. So how much would I want to sell those for? Based on how much revenue I get from them, I would be looking at perhaps 20 gold bars for the pair.
Oh, well, you have to understand though that the prosperity there is it's one war away from being nothing.
That's true, but isn't that every province?
Yes, but I think this one might have a little bit more of a chance if you catch my drift.
Go ahead and give
Some
me a blind
species are
check.
more prone.
Oh, sorry. In case you couldn't hear me there, Blexel, that was a request for a blind check from you.
Oh,
I see. That might change the valuation. Um, hmm. That's a tough bargaining
yes.
chip. A very tough bargaining chip, I must say. But yeah, that sounds like a headache that I don't really want to deal with. I might be able to bring it down some, but to be honest, I can't go far down because if that event were to take place, I think that there would probably be other individuals willing to buy quickly because they would see that potentially as an opportunity. Uh, what if we were to say 15 gold bars for the pair?
Well, we have other offers. I'll be honest with you, and 15 gold is simply too high for us. Um, for we know that things may happen swiftly there, and it's not worth that much. We'll be honest with you. So, um, if you could do perhaps the 10 that you wanted for the others, it would be a swift exit for you, painless. You wouldn't have to see your fortunes crumble there.
10 is quite a bit too low, I'm afraid, Counselor. Perhaps we can make a different arrangement, though. If that even begins to occur, if the province is invaded, and if the war looks to be going your way, then I would be happy to sell it both for 10.
All right. I hope you're not making a big mistake by not just doing it now. I really, you seem like a good guy from our limited meeting here. And I just want you to get that vacation you wanted and to live in the southern coasts. So um, we will consider your offer, but I would ask you to reconsider if possible, just for the sake of my conscience and not having you lose so much.
Truth be told, Counselor, if that were to start, if there was even serious whisperings of such things, the guilds in Cariele would be willing to purchase them for more than what you're offering. They're very prized assets. The guild there alone, I can expect on average 2.5 gold bars per season generated. So you're asking to sell for 10. That means 4 seasons of revenue. I mean, that's really not much. As far as how much money I've spent building that up over the years, it's significant. So I can't let it go for such a paltry price. And that doesn't even include the law holding. It's just not enough. But I take your threat seriously, and if it looks like you actually are going to go through with that threat, that would certainly change the facts on the ground. And I hope you'd be willing at that point to purchase rather than destroy. That would be the most prudent thing at that point for both sides.
So just so I can summarize, if we go, just for me and for everyone watching on YouTube, if we go and attack in Murgarat, and even to start moving troops in there, he's willing to sell both law and guild holdings to us for 10 gold pieces, 10 gold bars.
The way he worded it is if it looks like you're winning, because if you obviously invade sending troops in, Thurazor can respond. So you're getting the impression that he's saying he doesn't think it's going to be as easy as you're thinking to just invade and take it over. But if you were to attack them and let's say they repel you, like they have enough troops that they defeat you or force you to retreat, then he's not going to sell to you because that means your threat didn't manifest, right? But if you invade and hold the province for at least a full turn, which then you could potentially start doing negative things to his holdings, then he's open to selling it to you for 10.
That's a good deal.
Or we just get it for 15 right now. But that would leave us basically
That would
broke.
be all of our money almost.
And we can't have 0, right?
It's not recommended.
We got to pay for our stuff.
Right. Maybe a payment plan. That's
There
what we
are people
start
that are
using.
willing to give us loans, so we could theoretically do that sort of thing. But, well,
I'd be down to pay 15 for this, and then, but if it's like a payment plan per something per season with maybe a little bit of interest or something, I don't really know.
yeah, would that be possible for you, for us to give you a payment plan where we paid it over time? Troops are expensive, you understand, so we don't want to leave ourselves without enough to make sure we fully commit.
Maybe we could work out something, but you have to understand I would need some kind of collateral because unfortunately sometimes realms, bad things happen to them and they make very different decisions, decide not to pay their debts. And if you chose not to pay, what could I do against you? I don't have armies and that sort of thing. So it's possible, but it means the price is going to go up because you're going to be dealing with interest. And I would need some kind of collateral, some kind of rock solid guarantee that I would get this back. Something along the lines of a public meeting with your countess and all of you agreeing to pay this money and documenting it, taking it to the bank, those kind of things to make sure there's no wiggle room if things don't go the way you expect.
That sounds like a lot of work. I'm not sure I'm down for that. And he looks at the rest of the council.
Well, I kind of like the effort, and if it seems like we've succeeded in pushing in for 10 gold bars, which it sounds like a good deal.
All right. All right. I would say our final offer would be 11. And then if not, we will talk to you once we're doing what we're going to do down there. All right?
You see, he gives you a slight smile. Well, I look forward to talking to you in the future then. Thank you for speaking to me once again and enjoy your time here in Thosa. All right, he will take his leave. All right, folks, you guys have had a lot of negotiations with various folks here, a lot of potential wheels moving through. We are a little over halfway through our session. Let's go ahead and pause and take our 15-minute break. Alrighty, welcome back to this session. We are in the second half. The team is currently negotiating with lots of different folks. Team, you just spoke with Galian Thuriad once again about potentially acquiring some holdings in Murgarat in the Kingdom of Thurazor, and that kind of hung in the air. He has since left. I believe you guys stated that your next plan was to head into the capital and see if you could speak or track down this missing priest or learn anything about why he's missing.
And we have about 2 hours or an hour.
You have about an hour and a half before your clothes will be delivered to your rooms, so you can actually guys get dressed, and then you have about 3.5 hours until the actual ceremony.
Oh, so we have plenty of time to investigate.
Well, it's like about a 25-minute walk into the church inside the capital city. So once you get there, depending on how much time you spend investigating, you'd only have, less than an hour if you want to be back so you can get dressed up.
I don't get dressed up for anything 3 hours before I have to go somewhere.
It would be 2 hours if you did it on the dot. But yeah, you guys asked for the clothes, so she assumed you were a little nervous and wanted to see if you had to make any adjustments in any of that.
I need like 10 minutes. Okay, cool. Yeah, let's go to church.
All right, I'll pull you guys back over to the manor, and yeah, you know what? All these conversations have just been pretty exhausting, haven't they? Bill, why don't you go ahead and spend your card?
I didn't get any cards this time.
Come on, we know you have the pocket red card.
Yeah, I mean, last week I had like a blue card and we didn't even do anything with it, and back to all the reds, Adam. My freaking gosh.
It's your great luck. You got to take wins with the losses, right? All right, folks, this is the How Much Longer Can We Go card. Every group member gains 1 point of weariness. All right, and because you guys are currently on a map that doesn't have tokens and you don't have easy access to those, I will go ahead and throw those points of weariness on for you. Just make it easy.
If it's not too much trouble for you, Adam.
Oh, not much trouble at all.
Yeah, I'm
You
too
happy
tired
to do it.
to do it.
Okay, so I will go ahead and apply those momentarily. You guys spend your time, about 25 minutes or so, walking on into the capital, which is Sunderland. That's the name of the province and the capital city. You guys make your way on in, and it's much like you spotted it before as you were here doing some shopping earlier in the day. You guys make your way over to the church. It seems as though there is actually some type of a service going on right now, and you notice that the church doors are closed, but you can hear the sounds of like singing coming from inside.
All right, well, I'm gonna open the door. I guess why not?
Okay, you attempt to open the door and you find that it is locked.
Interesting. Who locks doors during church? Is there another way in? I look around to the side and left, look up.
Yeah, if you walk around the building, you can see that there is like a side door on the east side of the building. So there's your main doors like on the south side, and then there's like a single side door on the east side.
All right, come on over here, guys. I'm gonna try to open that door.
That door does indeed open. It's a much smaller door, and it looks like it enters into like a preparation area. Think of this as small room, boxes, barrels, that kind of thing. As you open it, you notice that there is a young man kind of moving some things around. And you see he turns and looks back at you. Can I help you?
Yes, my name is Counselor Gordon Rainwright from Cerilia, the NRC up there, and I'll do the cult sign, or I mean the religious sign.
Uh-oh.
And I'm,
Yes. Yes. So what can I do for you?
yeah, I wanted to see if I could talk to someone in charge here about cleric's kind of missing, or maybe he's got lost.
I don't know anything about that, but I know they're doing some type of special ceremony right now, and they said not to be disturbed. So they closed the doors, and the other door that leads into the actual church area, that's closed as well. They told me to keep working, but they said they're not to be disturbed.
Interesting. Are they all in there? Is there anyone not in there? Is there someone I could talk to other than what's your duties here? Sorry.
Oh, I'm just a porter. I move the goods and things around, and I try to get things organized. We get shipments occasionally of various ceremonial and religious stuff, and I make sure they're all, taken apart and put away in the right spots.
Right. Well, being a member of the NRC, I think it would be fine if you would unlock that door and allow me to come in.
I don't even have the key, to be honest. They said, I mean, it was like, I don't know how to explain it, but it was like real important, and they were like, don't let anybody in. I don't know. They'd never seen him looking that focused, and like, yeah, there's something going on. I don't know though.
How old is this boy or man?
Maybe about 17, you would guess.
I'd say, okay, hey, but why don't you take a break? Why don't you go outside a minute? I'm not going in. I don't have a key, but I want to hear what's going on there. All right, take a little break. Smoke them if you got them.
Give me a blind check, Gordon. Okay, but don't move anything around or anything. I got to get this stuff all in order and make sure it's all put in the right places. And just don't make more work for me, okay?
Yeah, Roger that. Is this stuff for the ceremony or is it for later?
I don't know. They don't tell me anything. I think it's just normal stuff that I do like every week. So I don't think there's anything special here.
All right, Roger that. All right. Yeah. Give me like 10 minutes. I'll let you know. Bye.
All right. You see, he kind of looks at you a little bit longer, and okay. And then you see he'll walk out that same side door, and then he sees all the rest of you, and he says, "Are you all clerics with the NRC too?"
They're with me. They're fine. They're not going in either. They're just friends. No biggie.
I'm thinking about it. He's trying to convert me.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. All right. Well, I'll be back in a little bit. And you see he kind of like walks down the northern path here, looks back at you after a little bit, and then walks on the other side of the building.
All right. I want to hear through the door, Adam. There's a kind of ceremony. Am I listening? What am I hearing? And
Yeah, another blind check. See how well you can hear through the door.
I can unlock that door, by the way.
yeah, that might cause a scene.
You hear muffled music and sounds kind of all muffled together. You can't really pick out individual words.
Is there another door? I'm gonna look up. Is there like a crawl space or like a stairwell or another door? Maybe underneath my feet. Is there a trap door down there? Not trap door, but like a open door, storage door.
No, not that you see. This looks to be like a small storage area, and then you assume that the church to the main, the door to the main church area is usually always open, probably not even closed. So like they could come in here to grab things and bring them into the main area. So that, I mean, that's the one way to get in. You don't see any other ways to get into the main area of the church.
Can you describe this door to me that I'm listening through?
Solid wooden door with like an iron handle. It's set obviously pretty solidly into the door frame. It doesn't look like it's in bad state of repair or anything like that. And yeah, it's pretty solid. You listened at it, just heard the muffled sounds.
So there's no way to tell if I open this door, it's going to be the main. Everyone will look at me like.
I would say based on what you know of like typical church designs, this probably leads right into the main church area.
Yeah.
Just claim forgiveness, right? We're looking for their cleric.
Yeah. Can you unlock it? And then
Yeah.
not open it.
Sure thing.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem. Avani has told us the power of knowing the intricacies of every lock.
Wait a minute. What spell are you about to use?
Oh, you're right. Wait, hold on.
Yeah, you're not using knock, are you?
That'll make a sound that can be heard from.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
a foot
Okay.
away.
So no, I can't open it. I can if I want to make a lot of noise.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna search. Is there a key like up on the frame of the door or somewhere? Give me guys,
Give
look
me
for
a
key.
blind check, Gordon, as you search around the storage area for any spare keys. You're searching through some boxes, opening some little drawers along the shelf area. You're seeing a lot of odds and ends. You know, think of this as like wax candles, some, you know, ceremonial kind of like ribbon type stuff. There's some pieces of cloth. There's some vials that don't currently contain holy water, but you assume that's their purpose. But no additional key.
Well, there must be someone somewhere around here who knows what's going on. You've never heard of something like this happening at your churches before, Gordon?
I'm gonna have to roll for that, I guess. But no, I haven't.
I would say in general, there are times where there are private ceremonies that occur in churches, and when that happens, the doors would be locked. But that's not, it doesn't happen very often, and usually it's there's a purpose behind them. So it's not just like randomly they do this. There's for a specific purpose.
What am I risking as someone who's a member of the NRC to interrupt, even slightly interrupt, a private ceremony?
It depends on how you do it, and depends on who's on the other side of the door, right? Like if it's someone who's really high up and they have the ability to, derank you or demote you, right? Like that's something like that could happen. But if it's just regular staff members in here and there's not much they're doing, probably not a ton. You might get like a written admonishment.
No one in this group has thieves' tools. I look around like, can no one else open this door?
I point to my warhammer and I say, I got a key.
You want to see me open it?
No.
Can anyone cast silence?
Why don't we start a fire and then bust in saying, "Oh my gosh, there's smoke in the building. We wanted to warn you." And then we can see what they're doing.
We're gonna light this place on fire. That's your go-to?
Silence is not prepared. But we need to get into this building. I'm gonna go outside. Boy.
You call for him, and yeah, you see about 30 seconds later or so, you see him peek his head around the north side of the building. Are you calling for me?
Yeah, you. Is there another door into this chapel? I need to be in there. I'm part of this.
There's the main door. I don't see how you could be. I don't recognize you. Have you ever been here before?
I'm from a different country, and I'm here. I need to get into this room.
I guess you could try knocking. I don't know. They said not to disturb them, so I don't know what to tell you.
No other doors, correct?
There's the
Did they
main
give
door.
a time frame?
Okay, I'm gonna blind check. Is he lying to me, this pimple-faced 17-year-old, that there's no other doors except for the main door?
You don't think he's
They don't
lying to you, no?
Did they give a time frame for how long this ceremony is supposed to take? Like how long people need to be kept out for? Is this something we could just wait out?
They didn't tell me, but remember, I just work here. Like they don't come up and give me all the details. They just give me instructions, and they just said that not to let anybody in, and that they were doing some kind of ceremony. That's all I know. I'm sorry, that's all I know.
Serena, not Serena. So you have a key in your. Let me have the key.
I don't
He
have the key.
doesn't have the key.
Well, he said that. Now I don't want to fact check him again because I'm gonna say Serena to threaten this kid. Can I do one more if I
No,
believe he has a key?
no. Let's all be cool. We don't know what's going on.
Okay, to the front door. If we're not gonna shake down the kid, we'll go to the front door. Any objections?
Nope, let's go.
Let's go.
All right.
All right,
Go to
you
the
make
front
your
door,
way back
Adam.
to the front door. Much like you left it, there's nobody here, and the doors are solid and strong. All right, you start knocking on the door. You can hear, again, some muffled sounds coming through the doors. It's hard to make out much. No response to your knocking.
I'm gonna pound on it very loudly.
Hey, let me try to see if I can listen in first. Maybe, kids crying or anything like that.
Kids cry. You've never been to church, Tavard? It's not like that.
If you want to break into a
Some
church
churches.
during a ceremony, it's got to be something significant, right? Just me.
No.
No, we still can't hear you. Lighten up.
I think he said, Tavert, that was the best roll ever.
Me too. Yep.
All right, testing again. How about now?
There you go.
Oh yeah, yeah, we
Yep.
can hear you.
I swear it wasn't even that other microphone. Now I'm convinced that my computer is just cursed. But all right, getting back into it. So your role there, Tavern, you don't hear anything clearly. It's much like what Gordon explained. It sounds like a lot of overlapping sounds. You can certainly hear the sound of music, and it sounds like chanting, but you can't make out the specific words of the chant.
All right, I gotta tell that to the group and say, I don't know, some mumbo jumbo chanting and music and everything.
You want me to just open it since we're making noise now?
I don't think we should break in.
So I'm reading divination right now. Give me 30 seconds. I think it says you ask a single question concerning a specific goal or event, a specific event or activity to occur within 7 days. Here. Maybe I could pray to Sarah and might give me some perspective on what's going on in there. Guys, you can help me as Gordon's clearly vexed. You almost see him like maybe start to pray and like maybe grabs his holy symbol and trying to reach out and to see what's going on in here.
Gordon, you can't recognize that music and chanting? Like, aren't you familiar with your religion's ceremonies?
No, I can't. You guys are fucking around too much with those crates. I couldn't hear very well.
So I'm sorry. What do you need our help with?
Do you see what I posted, right? Or was that to DM? So
I see.
I'm thinking of divinating something I'd like to know what's going on in there, and I don't think I can just ask my God what's going on in that hall in the church right now.
You could
Maybe
just
what
say,
ritual are they performing?
Okay.
should I break in?
But let me pop a level 4 and spell. Let's see if we can do this, and then. So ask a single question concerning a specific goal, or a specific event, or a specific activity to occur within 7 days. Okay,
Is it a good or bad idea to bust down this door?
bad.
It's a very bad idea.
Oh,
She
that's what
wants
you
that to be
should
the
ask.
question.
So yeah, so I'm trying to help with the question. So if I ask, I want to just flat out ask, is it, I could ask, who is Amelia Hensford marrying? Because it's probably not Vernon Bells. I could do something like that. What do you think?
Maybe. But what if it is Vernon? And then it's just like you get nothing.
What
We don't
wedding
know what they're doing.
ceremonies are there fucking chanting that happens during?
That's
I
why
don't
I'm
know.
saying
This
if
is,
I've never
I
been
don't
to a
know.
wedding.
This is D&D. I don't know.
the type of
I'm not
ritual will
familiar
tell
with
us
this
a
land's
lot.
culture.
Okay, Adam, is chanting part of Northern Reformed Church ceremony of marriage?
No.
Okay.
That's it. I'm busting down the door.
Why don't we ask what kind of ritual it is? That way we know if it's like a ritual to summon an evil god, we know we got to bust it down. But if not, we don't get you in serious trouble with your
Okay.
church.
Yeah, I could ask a single question concerning a specific event that's occurring right now. What event is occurring inside of this church?
And I want to make sure, Serena, that we're not silencing you here. So you've said a couple of times you want to bash it down. Is that what you're doing, or are you just saying that to your teammates and seeing if they go for it?
I was just saying it to my teammates.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm gonna send it out.
Okay, so word that one for me one more time.
So I'm gonna ask a specific question concerning this specific event, and it's going to be what event is occurring inside of this church right now.
Okay. So if I was really creative, I would come up with a cryptic rhyme right on the spot, but unfortunately, no. So I guess what I will say, so a short phrase, cryptic rhyme, or an omen. Um, um, okay, so I guess what the phrase will be, here now but should not be, won't be if successful.
Maybe they're trying to send the dark one back.
Maybe.
What dark one? What are you talking about?
One that we unleashed that everybody hates us for.
Wait, what?
When Celine's parents got evaporated, we released something bad.
So this could be a good thing. They've Northern
Yeah.
Reformed Church has caught somebody and is trying to banish them.
Yeah, they're trying to get rid of something.
Okay.
So that tells me that this is
So Adam, just for admin, I already bought the divination hourglass that I used, and I took it off of my sheet, so now I have 0 divination materials. I
Okay,
already
yep,
paid
that
25
works.
gold. Yep.
It sounds like
Okay.
something we shouldn't interrupt. It sounds like something came up that the cleric's services were required to address that was more important than some wedding. So maybe we shouldn't bother them.
Yeah, and I'm gonna have to lean into my allegiance with the NRC, and agree completely. Like, okay, thank Sarah that it was explained to us, and I'll do the holy symbol of Sarah. And like, it's fine. I think it's fine. They're just doing business of banishing someone that the Northern Reformed Church doesn't want. Okay, let's just back off. I'm sure that the cleric's in the room. All right.
We have a backup plan to use you for the ceremony. So now that we know,
I'm great at ceremonies.
At least he's not like in active danger. Which was our concern.
Yeah. Do you guys want to hang out for a little bit and see if they finish, and we can ask them what's going on?
Yes, if this was an important ritual, I'm sure they would have like put the word out. Like, aren't churches usually open to like the poor and any visitors usually? So maybe they said something to like the local guard presence. Maybe not exactly what was going on, but
I'm sure the Northern Reformed Church is a big fan of the poor.
All right, well, there must be some, stone or marble benches around here somewhere. Oh, there's one. I'll just hang out for a while.
All right, so
Blixel is going to, just real quick, he's going to do detect good and evil.
Okay, go ahead and post that. And so as you're prepping that and you guys find these benches to sit on, based on when you left and then the amount of time it takes to get here, you're looking at somewhere about 3 o'clock, a little bit after 3 o'clock at this point. Okay, so you're casting that spell within 30 feet of you, so you're trying to be close to the doors, I'm assuming, when you do this?
Yes, next to the doors. But I'm going to use the bloodline ability to cast it.
Okay. All right, so you do that within 30 feet of you. You do not detect any of those things other than the ones you already know about.
Okay.
All right.
Ones or one?
Cryptic rhyme. So you guys wait there for perhaps another 15 minutes. So it's maybe 3:20 at this point, and you will hear some commotion, some movement, that sort of thing from the side door, not the door that you guys are right next to, but you can hear like movement, talking, that kind of stuff.
I'm gonna head that way.
All right, you turn the corner and spot yourself looking at a priestess, and you can see she is speaking with that same young man that you spoke with before. But what's kind of odd with her is she's wearing robes that are very much open at this point. So they kind of cling to her body, but they're open. So you're basically seeing like the center of her body from the neck all the way down to like her belly button. And it's kind of odd. This doesn't seem like a typical attire for a priestess, released in this fashion. The robes themselves look to be affiliated, typical robes you would assume in the NRC, but how she's wearing them certainly seems odd. And you see she is speaking with him for a moment, and then you see she kind of turns her eyes and she spots you, and she raises an eyebrow and she says, "Yes, what do you need?"
I'll wave my hand and say, "Hi, I'm Gordon Wainwright of the Northern Reformed Church in Cariele, actually a counselor there, and we were here for the wedding, and it turns out the cleric hasn't been around, and the wedding doesn't know. I don't know if they don't know if the cleric's going to make it, so I came over here to make sure everything's okay. Will the cleric be able to make it?"
You see she purses her lips for a moment as she looks at you, and she says, "You are affiliated with the NRC. I'm afraid I don't know you, but that doesn't come as too surprising since you're from far away. You are looking for the father who was to attend the wedding between Haysford and Bells?"
Yeah, that's the one. Exactly. Is he around?
She pauses for a moment. "He will not be able to make it, I'm afraid. However, we can arrange for somebody else to come. I believe that is within just a few short hours, yes?"
Yeah, it is. Or I could do it. And you are?
"Very busy at the moment. I will make sure to send somebody to arrive there shortly. Give me an hour or so. I will have someone there to attend."
Okay. Yeah. Sounds good. What was going on there? The doors were closed.
"Church business, I'm afraid. If you were a parishioner here or a member here, I would have gladly welcomed you in, but as you are not, well, some things need to be kept within the flock."
Understood. Well, may blessings be upon you in tending to your flock, and you'll send a father over there for the wedding, and everything seems to be assuaged. Enjoy your afternoon.
She inclines her head and watches you as you're like kind of on the outside of the building through the door. And essentially her intent here, you can see, is she's getting ready to walk forward and close the door. So unless you're trying to stop her, that is what will happen.
No, I'm not gonna stop her.
Am I sort of close to there as well?
If you wish to be, yeah.
Sure. And then I'm gonna do divine sense just to check her. Since her robe's open, she might be possessed.
Okay. Use divine sense. No, you do not detect any of that on her or anything other within 60 feet other than what you already know about.
All right.
Man, they do things differently here.
I gotta tell you, you gotta be a member of the NRC. There's some cool stuff that goes on.
Is it like body shots and stuff?
Well, if you were a member of my flock, then you would know about it. But since you are not, then you aren't welcome.
Wow.
Hey, that's
All
right.
right. You're great. You're a great salesman for the religion.
I try to quote exactly what she said to me with a bit of sarcasm with it.
I'm like, all right, fine. I'll just stick with the god that burned my eyeballs out.
Yeah, how's that going, bud? Slap you on the shoulder.
No, it's so I could get these new eyeballs. They work even better. I'm telling you.
Well,
Everything
look,
happens for a reason.
this was suspicious as fuck, but I'm not gonna put my hand in that something I ain't before I look, and we're gonna get bit by something. So let's just be nice wedding guests, right?
Absolutely.
All right. Is there anything else in the capital you're wanting to attend to before you make your way back over to the manor house? All right. Hearing nothing, then I will assume you guys make your way back over to the manor house. You get back there right about 4 p.m. So as you're making your way through the sort of the inter area before heading up to your actual rooms, you can see that there's several people kind of gathered together, and it seems as though there's like a hushed conversation going on, maybe a dozen folks or so, and they all seem to be kind of like craning their necks to look further into this room and passing communication between one another.
Which room?
So you enter this manor like through the front area, and it's kind of like I want to call it like a breezeway that connects to the different areas of the inside manor. So think of it as like the main hall where the wedding's actually going to take place. Then there's stairs going up to the various rooms. So they're kind of standing in the breezeway looking into the main hall. And then they're kind of all gathered at the doorway, this like dozen people, and they seem to be chatting and then trying to like look into the main the wedding area. You can see some people like standing on their tippy toes trying to look over others.
What kind of people are they? Are they like the servants, or are they like the visiting dignitaries and stuff?
It looks like mostly the attendants, yes.
Okay.
Pretty swanky, huh?
Well, what are they looking at? What's going on? I'm gonna ask. What's everyone gawking at? Ask one of the people.
He doesn't even turn back to you, and he says, "Oh, he did come. He's here. Oh my goodness, can you imagine?"
Who?
And you see he turns back at you with an excited face, and then he realizes that you're like actually wedding guests and not just workers here. And oh, sorry, excuse me. Oh, I'm sorry. Just one of the guests has finally arrived. No one was sure if he was going to come, but he's an elf from Twerhieville. There's a lot of talk about him maybe coming, and well, it's interesting to see that he has arrived.
Oh yes, I can't wait to meet him. I'm looking forward to my conversation with him.
Oh, well, that's wonderful. Great. Great. Is there anything else I can help you with? Do you need any help getting taking anything up to your rooms? Did you go on a shopping spree?
Yes. Can you bring up 5 mimosas, please?
Right away, counselor.
Oh, nice.
I look at Serena. I got you.
Let's get this party started.
Oh, it's gonna be a hilarious wedding. Can you feel it right now, Serena? We're gonna have a little bit of booze and watch it all fall like a house of cards in front of us.
A reminder that you and Tavard definitely told us that the wine here is much stronger than we're used to, so maybe don't indulge over much.
Yeah, we got to make a good impression for our realm too. So let's remember that. That's why we're here.
Okay, all right, you're right. And I wink at Serena. Yeah, right.
Why?
All right, so you guys make your way back up to your rooms. As you're kind of just chatting and turning the corner, there is a man leaning against the wall, basically in between the doors to your rooms. You see he is kind of leaning there casually, and as you start to approach, he turns and looks in that direction and kind of just watches you guys as you're getting closer.
Hey, what up? How are you?
What the hell?
You notice he kind of looks towards you a bit, and then he says, are you the counselors, perhaps, from Cariele?
Yeah, we are. And I motion my hand around to display all of us as glorious counselors of Cariele.
Whom do we have the pleasure of
Interesting.
meeting?
I am Clumine Thoson, cousin of the Baroness, mage here in Thoson, and I was asked if you had time to just speak with you briefly.
Excellent. We've been looking forward to it. Come on in. Room's right over here.
All right, you see he turns towards the room and motions with his hand, and the door opens, and he looks back at you and says, "After you."
Thank you.
All right, as you guys pile into this room, he steps in and will close the door behind him. Clumine Thoson looks at you all and he says, well, I'm never one for just talking when there doesn't need to be talking, so let's simply cut right to the chase. You've been presented this opportunity of a wedding. Have you had any other conversations on this matter? Any other thoughts?
Regarding you and Miele, right?
Milena.
Milena.
Possibly, if you think that that is an opportunity. She would be a very great pairing for my family.
Oh. Well, it's worth considering. How would it? In what ways do you propose it might be a great pairing?
Better relations between our two realms is the start, of course. And from what I hear, you are sorely lacking in magical talent down in Cariele. I could certainly rectify that.
Ooh.
You would be willing to relocate to Cariele.
Shade.
I would be willing to do so if that pairing were made, yes.
Does sound like an excellent opportunity.
I agree. If you think the Baroness would be open to, or the Countess, I should say, would be open to such a pairing, I would be most willing to pursue it.
What do you think about the undead? No, just kidding.
I suppose that would be something he'd be able to pick up on, right?
Not necessarily. It's not like readily available, but if he had a spell that could detect it, he might be able to do that.
Save it for the wedding night.
You
Have
guys.
you met? Have you met Serena?
I have not. I have heard of her, of course. General of Cariele, very interesting. Not much for war myself.
It's a shame. Magic can become very useful in a battle.
That is true, yes, and I'm glad to hear that you know the value of magic in battle. I would like to think that it's turned the tide of many battles in the past, but it's just not very interesting having to dodge arrows and things when you're casting spells at armies.
Makes it a little more exciting.
I suppose if you're the kind of person that just shrugs arrows off, but you see these robes, they don't block much, so it requires far more magic to block and attack, and it's just too much to think about. I much prefer my library and my books and studying and learning new spells. Maybe eventually I'll learn a spell that I can throw from such far away that they won't be able to hit me. Maybe I'll be more interested in battle then.
I'm guessing there's no second date here, folks.
Well, it sounds boring, but I mean, what are the mechanics of a marriage for political purposes? I mean, it's not like we'd need to spend every waking moment together, right?
Ah, you're referring to if your countess is not interested, then the potential marriage between myself and one of the counselors? Well, I must tell you that I come from a long and proud family lineage. We can trace my bloodline back all the way to Mount Desmar. So, of course, I would be looking for a pairing with another scion. I wouldn't want to, no offense, dilute the blood any further.
That's understandable. And side note, we haven't told Melina about this yet, have we?
Correct. We have not. I wanted to meet the two suitors, and then talk about using it if she doesn't want to marry, using the magic of the other guy, which is Daedre or something. Daedric.
Derek.
Derek, yeah. If using him to kind of break the ley line was something she would agree with as well, so to speak. So in 25 words or less.
Well, hopefully she'll be interested in your proposal.
He inclines his head. Yes, I hope so as well. Otherwise, well, there are always other arrangements that can be made. But if I'm being quite frank, looking at all of you, I don't know of any notable people in Thosone who would be obvious pairings. So that might be a little bit more difficult. I think the Countess is probably still the best bet. I understand she comes from a storied family line as well.
Oh, the Countess is looking to marry?
Well, that is the hope of the Baroness here in Thosone, that your Countess would agree to such terms.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I got confused. The Baroness up here, Countess down there. Yep, copy.
Well, it seems like you've had quite a long day then. If there's no other questions for me, well, you already have our terms and so forth, and if the Countess is interested, please let me know.
I have a quick question for you. What do you
Please.
know of ley lines?
The more appropriate question is, what don't I know about ley lines?
Do you know how to shut one down?
Yes, not too difficult if you have the appropriate power behind you.
And if you don't roll
You'd
one,
be surprised.
I would not be surprised. There is always risk involved in doing such things, and the battle between wills and the power flowing back and forth. That, well, it's what this whole land is known for.
All right. That's all I wanted to know.
Fair
would,
enough.
would you be we if Melina and you end up not being a good match, would you be willing to help us break a ley line in the future?
Well, I suppose that's something we could discuss, but doing so requires a source in a particular province. Which province are you hoping to have this happen in?
Let's say Riverford.
I'm afraid I have no sources within your realm of Cariele.
Well, all right. I'm new to all this regency and stuff like that.
That is understandable. Yes, there's too many regents and guild holders and law holders and source holders to keep it all straight. I wouldn't expect anybody to know it off the top of their head.
All right. Well, it's nice meeting you, and I'll send the message the best I can.
You as well, yes. Well, and just apologies. Cast a quick spell. I don't want to be mobbed by any of the folks downstairs. If you just bear with me a moment. And you see he snaps his fingers, and you see a ripple goes through his appearance as he now suddenly looks like a simple attendant here at the wedding. And he gives you a nod, opens the door, and makes his way out.
Sweetie, I
Right.
think you would like the other one better.
But I don't know if he would like her. No offense. I mean that in the best way
Do you have the
possible.
ability to detect undead before you guys get married? You imagine? Ah!
Well, hopefully they're not bigoted towards undead. Although apparently it's not an issue because I'm not a scion.
Yeah, this guy's only option is the Countess if she's interested. If not, then we would have to talk to Derek.
Hey, let me send it now. Let me send the message now. Help me craft it.
All
Then you don't
right.
have to worry about doing it later when you're drunk.
Yeah, exactly. Drunk sending is the worst.
All right. I would tell her where you are. Tell her about the two marriage proposals.
Well, I think she knows where we are. Doesn't she?
We'll tell her about the two marriage proposals. And the possibility of buying those guild holdings.
Well, we could buy the guild holdings without her. It's more like the concern is hiring, whether or not she's interested or not. If it's okay with her, Derek would break a ley line for us. So the question is, we're in Thoson, coal mine, Thoson, and Derek, whatever, want to marry you. What are your thoughts? And regardless of your answer, would you do you approve Derek breaking a ley line?
Well, Derek, it's the opposite, right? Derek wants to establish a ley line from his source into Cariele so that he can counteract
Oh
the
yeah,
items,
Yeah.
which would, and the terms would be that we couldn't later break it, so that would be up for indefinite amount of time.
I
Which
feel like
is
he
the-
was only willing to do that if he married somebody or something.
No, he said he's still
Well,
interested.
separate.
Yeah, he is regardless of that. I can establish a ley line in your country and help fight that.
That sounds shady.
It does.
Why don't I just ask her if she
There's a
wants
lot
to
of-
marry these guys? How about that?
Yeah, we're probably not going to get much more out of 25 words. Just let her know about the marriage proposals. For political purposes, with one of the Baroness's two cousins. We can talk about it if we have to, at greater length when we get back.
Okay, so Adam, I'm gonna cast a sending spell here in this room. Let me click it. And it's gonna be Derek's and whatever his last name is, and
Thosone.
Coalmine. Oh, Thosone and Coalmine Thosone. Are asking for your hand in marriage. We're here now. What are your thoughts?
We
That's
told
it.
both of them you'd marry him.
Huh?
I said we told both of them you'd marry him.
No, I'm not sending that. I'm sending that. Anything else, guys, or can I hit send on that? Okay, there you go, Adam. That's my sending spell.
All right. The response you get is not interested.
Oh, there you go.
It's quick.
But she has 20 guys. She had 23 more words. She didn't say, "I hope everything's going well." How is Celine? Being friendly. Like, it's cold.
I understand that this would be beneficial for my country, but I don't
All of
give a
it.
shit.
Yes, something. 2 words.
Well,
She has 25.
careful what you say, Serena, because now that's gonna sort of fall on you two.
He doesn't want to marry us. You missed
talking
that part?
He's talking about the other one. Derek was not.
The other one.
Derek didn't specify whether he wanted someone with a bloodline.
Always a bridesmaid and never the bride.
And I think you'd be better suited for Derek anyway. So I think he was a good-looking man. If you're into those kind of things. This guy had facial hair, kind of looks like a wimpy dude. This coal mine guy. No.
I feel it in my interest to warn you because the boys are not disclosing this. He said he wanted a submissive wife in private, and I don't think that sounds like you. And for the record, it doesn't sound like me either.
Like, yeah, I guess I don't understand how these political marriages work.
Well, it's one way to find out.
And then we end up less aligned than we were in the beginning.
And and you're in a bad marriage. Yeah, that's going to be a side quest.
I mean, I'm not giving up my job, so if he has a problem with that, it might not work.
We can talk to him again and see what his thoughts are now that the Countess has given us a definitive answer about this. I don't think we really specified one way or the other what would happen after that, but he didn't say no to the idea of marrying a counselor. It's just, ugh, he kind of gave me the creeps a little bit.
Well,
You know what I do to guys that give me the creeps?
Kill them?
Usually.
and if they only knew how creepy you are.
Lynch.
What a rude thing to say, Gordon. Why would you say that?
Well, she's like half undead, right? Like,
It's a little spooky. I get it.
yeah.
You're perfect just the way you are. Don't let
Thank
Gordon
you.
talk shit
Thank
about
you, Celine.
Didn't say she wouldn't, but creepy, spooky is definitely on the list, which is pretty cool.
I mean, you can come haunting with me sometime. It's really fun.
Okay.
She has a unique aesthetic.
Well,
No power.
he sort of insinuated that he was okay with marrying either one of you guys.
Yeah, he did.
Well, then he must not have been serious about the submissive wife thing.
You
Well,
can.
he doesn't really know either of us. Is the thing. I guess
You
that's not a
have to live
requirement.
in the same house.
It sounded to me like he wanted to operate his sources up here. That was how he was going to contribute, by casting stuff through his source up here in Thosone and channeling the power into Riverford. So I think his preference. I mean, we can talk to him to clarify, but it sounds like his preference is to stay in Thosone.
Yeah, but that can't work as a council.
Yeah, Zoom hasn't been invented yet.
Just sending 25 words at a time for the entire meeting.
Sounds like the best kind of meeting to me.
25-word email. That sounds great. All right,
Anyway.
so are these our clothes we have to put on?
Yeah, look at these wooden buttons.
So yeah, try to think like green, sort of, kind of like vests, right? But that button down through the middle, and there's just toggles instead of buttons. So think of like little black cords attached to brown wooden toggles, and you basically pass those through the holes, and then that's going to be like buttoned down with toggles from the top to the bottom. And then the pants are like a dark brown, almost look like the color of tree bark. So yeah, as you guys stand there, you kind of resemble trees once you're dressed, right? Like the bark up to the green foliage. And then similar for the ladies with skirts, brownish skirts that lead up to green, more like a silky kind of green blouse.
Well, if you can't
Oddly,
beat them, join them.
The thing that we're not going to be known for much longer. Awesome.
We look ridiculous.
Oh, we look good.
I hope this is one of those one-time wear type things.
You look like more like a shrub, Tavard.
Yeah, probably.
Wear it with pride, Devard.
Yeah, all I need now is bells on my shoes.
All right, and with that complete, as the attendants are coming by, they look and they say, oh, your shoes. And they bring all these pairs of shoes for you all. And the shoes actually resemble acorns. And they hand those over to you.
Now we definitely look ridiculous, Blixel.
Yeah.
It's like a costume in a child's play.
This might be one too much.
I hope there's no photographers at this event.
You notice the attendant looks to you, Blix, and says, No, this is what's in right now. Look at this. It matches all the colors. They match really well. They draw it out. And especially the blue contrasts your eyes with the cloth. Trust me, this is where it's at.
Yeah, are you the one that says where it's at? I mean, it looks like something somebody just made up and was buying it at wholesale and had to sell it real quick.
No, well, anytime foreigners come to this land, as you are coming to this land, then, they try to dress the foreigners in clothing reminiscent of their homeland. So this color palette was picked to match the sigil of Cariele, the green backdrop, the brown of the acorn trees, and then, of course, the trees themselves, the acorns themselves on your feet. It's all the aesthetic.
Yeah, so just so I know, who picked them that I could have a conversation with them at a later time?
And you notice she kind of like blinks. I believe those decisions were made back in Carolinian. We just brought them here. Yes. You would have to talk with Keela about that.
I will.
Can I make a insight check to see if they're being sincere, that they think it's gonna be good for us to wear this stuff?
Sure, yeah, give me a blind check. You don't get a strong read on this attendant, Blixel. Seems like maybe she's saying the truth, but it's hard to say.
I think I can pull it off, guys.
Oh, we're not worried about you pulling it off, Blixel. We're worried about the rest of us.
All right. I'm gonna go
You're
full
used to
acorn feet.
You're used to entertaining people.
That's right. All right. Blixel straps on the acorn feet.
All right, you see the attendant here gives a smile. She's excellent, excellent, and then she sort of looks expectantly at the rest of you.
Fine.
How fast can my boots be cleaned?
It feels good, guys.
I am not going to shame the artisans that clearly worked very hard on these fine outfits. And I'm gonna look ridiculous no matter what I put on, so I put it.
Yep, I put on the acorn boots.
All right, so as you guys are all getting tired, you notice she's smiling and she says, excellent, excellent, we're on time. Would you all like to head down now and mingle, or do you want to wait till closer to the ceremony? There's probably still another hour and a half until the ceremony.
Who else down there? And are they dressed like we are?
Well, most of them are locals, so they're dressed in more of the local colors, which is not quite Cariele colors, but they're dressed, well, like you are.
What about that guy from the M country, Moriat?
Oh, Moria's color palette is blues, so he's dressed in a very vibrant blue vest. It really pops.
Does he have acorn feet?
Well, no, that's not the aesthetic in Moriat. He's wearing more, well, I guess you would call them sort of like obsidian black loafers.
Guys, we.
This
I
isn't
just
the
start laughing.
What are you thinking? You want to repatriate?
this isn't the aesthetic where we come from. Just so you know, nobody wears acorn feet.
And you see she kind of like shrugs a little bit. That's what they said was really going to pop, and everyone would clearly know where you're from, and you're all dressed similarly, so they know you're a team. This was all decided back in Carolinian.
I think we're gonna start a new trend, and it's really gonna sweep the region.
Yeah,
Acorn shoes.
can you make a lot of these?
Make a lot of what? The shoes?
Yeah, they're about to blow up. You better get ready to make a lot of them.
They were made back in Carolinian. No, we don't have the materials or even the skill to make them now. But well, if they become popular, I'm sure we could ship some of them.
No, yeah, we'll wear them. Blixel, is it me or are these shoes nuts?
Oh man, that's good. Yes, they are.
We
wanna
gotta
put-
mingle. You guys are just dropping bombs, so that's why we came here, right?
All right,
I wanna
yeah,
point out-
let's mingle it up.
I want to point out that I lost a point of inspiration for a similar joke last time. I expect similar treatment for.
You know, the sad part is I didn't recognize the pun right away, and then I was about to comment and say, "Oh yeah, they actually are nuts," and then I went, "No, that's what he was just saying." So I can't take it away because I wasn't fast enough.
Oh, too bad. You lucked out this time. He's too tired.
All right, so the attendant lady here is willing to escort you guys down and announce you before you enter the main chamber if you're all ready.
Let's do it.
I down my mimosa, put it on the table, muster up all the courage to wear these acorn boots with pride.
All right, and then I'm going to ask all of you to roll me a d20.
Is this going to be the number of people that are laughing at us?
No, it is not.
Just gonna do an insight check as we walk in the room to see if people are chuckling or not.
Tabard, shockingly, as the lowest roller, You notice as you're walking
What?
here, your acorn shoes have this strange click click. You know how sometimes you wear new shoes and then as you walk in them, they just make sound? That's these
Yeah.
shoes for you. Everybody else is walking and they're not making sounds, but yours are click and clacking as you're moving.
All right. So if that's happening, I'm gonna go. And so I'm assuming I know that pretty much as I'm getting out of the room.
Yes.
Yeah. So Tavert's putting on his boots.
All right, yeah. So you kind of walk back into the room and then start switching. You'll notice the attendant lady says, "No, no, no, it's okay, it's okay. They're brand new. Just give them a little bit of time. They'll be okay. I promise."
I tell you what. The service doesn't start for an hour and a half. I'm wearing my boots, and if someone is able to wear them for me and maybe wear them out a little bit, do a lot of running around or something, right? Wear them in for me, and then you can find me and I'll switch my shoes out. How's that? Thank you.
And you see she just kind of sighs. Okay. I'll see what I can do.
Yeah, the dwarf's not having it.
All right,
It's
so
not happening.
you move in your battle boots, but otherwise dressed very regally. And yeah, you guys head your way down to the main hall here. You can see that there are a lot of attendants nearby with platters, trays. They have drinks on them, little bits of food, and they have them held up. And then you see them looking at you all expectantly if you get close to like move the tray out for you to take something that you might like. But yeah, you guys are moving around this area here, just kind of noticing there's a lot of folks in the hall. Again, the ceremony hasn't started yet. People are definitely mingling, moving around. You notice within about 5 minutes of you guys entering, you're definitely getting looks. The attendees here are definitely taking in your attire, and you don't see any like mocking done to you, but people are definitely noticing. Shortly thereafter, you hear that the music actually starts playing. You notice a few different musicians off in a corner get some music starting to go, and there are people moving to the middle of the hall here and doing some dancing. So you can see several different folks doing dancing here. You notice the Chamberlain is actually dancing with Derek Thoson. You notice one of the guild masters is dancing with what appears to be a local lady, and other like couples start kind of flowing towards the middle. And you notice that there's plenty of room for you all to dance if you wish.
Oh, I'm going in, Blixel. Is there
So,
someone?
this
a
is
woman
kinda like
waiting to dance.
Yeah, I was just going to say, this is kind of like formal dancing, so you wouldn't want to go out there by yourself, right? Yes, you do see ladies kind of standing around in various areas. Most of them seem to be coupled up, but some of them do kind of like are looking into the center, almost like expectantly.
Is it possible for Blixel to help join the band?
Yeah, sure. Give me a blind check, Blixel, as you make your way back there and see if you can't get them to agree to let you play. Are you bringing an instrument, or are you trying to like sing? What are you trying to contribute?
Yeah, instrument. I'd say probably the drums because he's played that the longest. Or DOS lute if it looks like playing a magical lute is a good idea, but probably not.
Probably not right. So yes, you'll see that they have a set of drums there. They have quite a few different musical instruments. It looks like they're probably going to do various, repetitions and then move to other instruments and then take up different songs, that sort of thing. So as you chat with them briefly, they seem a little bit against the idea at first, but then, you kind of persuade them, you could say, as you're chatting, yeah, I played the drums for quite a long time. And they're like, okay, give it a try. And as you start playing, they're looking and listening, and you see them kind of look at each other, and they're like, yeah, this guy can actually play. So yeah, they seem to be happy having you meld in with them.
All right, guys, I'm just here to liven it up a little bit. All right, just let me hit the drums as hard as I can.
All right, so Gordon, are you trying to go up to one of those ladies in waiting and see if they'll dance?
Of course.
Okay, yeah, so you kind of move over in that direction and just kind of say, is there anybody looking to dance? And yeah, you'll notice several of the ladies kind of turn and look to you, and one of them actually steps up first and says, oh yes, I would love to dance. And she takes your hand.
I'll take the most eager one.
She's ready to go. She seems very happy and spunky. All right, so you make your way out onto the dance floor. The rest of you, so we know what Blixel's doing, we know what Gordon's doing. How about the rest of you?
Are these like?
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Ladies first.
Are these like? These are like courtly dances where you would need to know the steps and all that.
I mean, they're kind of simple, but they're not like wild dancing for sure. Like it's very. I'm trying to think what the actual. I think like the minuet, right, where it's like you step forward, you step back, you turn, you step forward. It's very like scheduled kind of dancing, very step based, but it's not complicated steps.
Is it like something that only people higher born would be familiar with, or is it something that I would have seen at like a commoner wedding?
I would say watching from the sidelines, you can pick up the entire dance in like 5 minutes. It's like that simple. It's again it's very the same thing repeated over and over.
Okay, I'm in. Who wants to dance?
All right, none of your companions seem to raise their hands
Ouch.
at that, but you will
That was
notice
harsh, guys.
there are other gentlemen around here kind of moving about. And yeah, before too long, you notice Galen Thuriad, the guild master you spoke to before, making the rounds, and he sees you kind of at the edge there, and he says, "Oh, would you like to dance?"
That would be a pleasure. My compatriots are not stepping up to their role, so thank you.
And you see he gives you now, "Oh, this will be such fun." And you see he takes your hand and leads you to the dance floor. All right, Saline Tabard, anything specific you're doing other than hanging out on the side of like the high school dance, the cool kids in the corner?
So,
Look, saline is the wallest of wallflowers.
Wall tree, maybe?
Oh yeah.
so 2 questions. First of all, do the folks from other regions look as silly as we do?
No.
And then the second question I'll have is, are there any other dwarves in the area?
You don't see any other dwarves in the hall. No, Tabard.
All right.
Yeah.
I am going to I'll walk around and just see if actually I'll look for my friend there that arrived.
Okay, yeah, so you make your way around the large tables on either side where everybody's kind of dancing in the middle, and as you get towards the north side of that table, sure enough, you see Lord Windrus sitting there. You can see he's actually looking down at what looks to be like a really small book. Like it's tall and it has what you assume to be like a lot of sheets of paper in it, but it is not very big. It's, maybe 20 pages wide kind of deal.
Yeah, I'll just kind of go up and do one of those kind of things.
Yeah, and over the music, you see he kind of turns and looks at you and he says, "Oh, Tabard, it's wonderful to see you."
And you too as well. I'm glad we were able to meet up. How was your travel?
Oh, it was not as easy as I thought it was going to be. It took the toll on me, if I'm being quite honest. Those days travel through all the lands of Morid and then through all the lands of Cariele. Feels like I've been on the road for a month. No, it's not been that long, but it just feels that way.
Yeah, it's me and my comrades were used to the travels and everything, so we were just happy to be able to, partially use, have some other folks with us as we made that trip. So, are you reading anything of interest?
Actually, yes, I'm looking for a book that is may be here in Thosone. It's a very interesting book. I think there's only one copy of it. I'm looking through my notes now, but hoping to talk to some folks here and see if I can't track it down. It'd be quite the find.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, best with that. Do you mind if I sit and join you?
Please do so. And as you're getting ready to take a seat, you notice the Chamberlain walks up and she says, "Ah, Lord Windrus, welcome, welcome. Would you enjoy a dance?" And you see he kind of like looks over towards you, a little bit of like nervousness on his face, and he says, "Oh, how about Tabard here? I'm sure he would like to dance." You notice the Chamberlain turns and looks to you and says, "Oh, how about it, counselor?"
And what is her interest level up here in that? Can I do a blind check on that?
You can, yes. So, and by this you mean, like, what do you mean by what is her interest level?
So what I mean by that is I know I'm a dwarf, and most people seem not to want to associate as much with me, right? Do I get the opinion that she actually would want to be seen on the dance floor with, the one truly wonderful dwarf?
Fair enough. Okay, so what I would say is you don't get any kind of suspicion or feel from her that she has anything against dwarves, but you do get a suspension. Well, you get the pretty clear suspicion that you were her second pick, right? Like she was looking, trying to do this with Lord Windress, and she's not being rude or anything, but you weren't, her top pick.
And I would say, well, lady, I'm not much for dancing. I'd be glad to do so if you don't mind someone with 1.5 left feet. But I leave that up to you because I know you're a busy person.
You see, she chuckles and she says, "Oh, well, I taught my sons to dance, so I'm sure you can't be worse than them. Come on."
Oh,
All right. So, I am. I do have a high dexterity. So who knows? Who knows, right? If I trip, maybe I won't fall. All right, I'll get up and dance.
All right, so she pulls you out onto the floor as well. Last call, Saline. Are you staying on the edges?
Oh, she's trying real hard to blend into the wall.
All right, so far it seems like
But if
that
anyone
is...
approaches her, yeah.
I was going to say, so far that seems successful at the moment. Like no one's coming over to bother you. You kind of seem like you're on your own and like you're trying to do that in a sense. And it seems like people are kind of giving you that space, you might say. All right, so as 4 of our PCs are in the center here, or 3 really, because we got
Fireball
one
is set off into the middle of the.
So we've got one playing with the band, and we got one in the corner, and 3 PCs in the middle doing dancing. You notice this dance again is very formulaic, and you guys are doing decently well, but within a few moments, the song from the band changes and it becomes something much more up tempo. And this dance seems to be more what you would consider like a casual dance. In fact, you notice that most people here seem to pick it up pretty quick. And it's one where you kind of pass your partners around and people dance with sort of everybody in the middle. So as that starts occurring and people start getting passed around, I will ask for blind checks from our 3 dancers.
and can we say that Saline's not a wallflower, she's a wall tree? That would be...
I already made that joke. No,
He
you can't
already
do
did
that.
that, Brian.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't hear it. Bummer.
No, you're good. Okay. So Tabard, yes, you're having quite the challenge with this more up-tempo
Be
dance.
the boots.
When the Chamberlain Helene Dossieri first started, the slow one, I mean, it was hard to get wrong, so you did okay. But this more up-tempo one, yeah, you're having a real hard time following the steps. You're kind of missing a beat, and as you're looking around, you realize you're always like a step or 2 behind everybody else. Serena, you're able to keep your own. You're dancing with the Guildmaster first, and that seems to go pretty well. And then as it gets picked up a bit more, you eventually find yourself across from Derek Thosone, and he seems very much interested in dancing with you, and you're able to, keep pace with how it's going. Nothing amazing, but you're doing pretty decently well. Gordon, you're struggling quite a bit. You're having a hard time. This is just very unnatural to you. This feels off. And yeah, pretty much as you're getting kind of passed around, you're doing the like bump into people. Oh, sorry about that. Oh, sorry about that. But yeah, you guys are able to dance with several different people. And as this is going on, you hear like some, occasionally like on the slower bits of the song, you get more like a close, and then people kind of start doing some whispers in your ear, like, hey, how things going? And little chitty chat kind of stuff like that. But yeah, because we're a little bit after the end of our session, I wanted to leave this in a good spot. So let's go ahead and pause it here, folks. We'll pick up again next week with more of the intimate conversation part of the dance and see what else comes up with the wedding.
All right.
Well,
Sounds good. Have a
I'll
great
try to
week,
help
folks.
you guys.
All right, guys,
Anticipate
thanks. Have
a
good night.
rousing band speech coming up. But yeah, have a
There
great
you
night,
go.
everybody. We'll see you all next week.
Great
See you
job.
soon.